All right.
Hey, Frank.
And welcome to the board meeting and Denton test.
Chris Jones or Chris What's his last name? Chris Tobin. Oh, Chris Tobin.
Probably take a fair amount of days time. When I did the calculation on it, how much time we spent at our board meeting, about 2 hours a month, spread it out over this. This week that it was really about. I'd like to recognize the VIP. We have our immediate past president, thank you for that, President Phil, and the voting member of the board. We want to appreciate being together. Bring a historical perspective. Before I start the meeting, I'd just like to set the tone really quickly. One of the things that I would like to do is to establish a real culture of psychological safety. And I'm just going to read you what that means. Psychological safety is the belief that a workspace or meeting is safe for speaking up about ideas, questions, concerns, and mistakes. It's a sense of confidence that your voice is valid. I just want to remind everybody that all of our voices are valued. Feel free to speak up, speak honestly, and with your best independent thinking. That's what we need as a group. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And I'm going to ask Michael to take the floor.
Alrighty. Brian's here. Michael Butts is here. I'm here. David's here. Candy's here. Mark Christensen's here. Michael Lentz.
Right, is there a Wi-Fi for us in here?
Jack's here. Chuck's here. Wes is not here. David Hartwell is here. David Lawson is not here. Scott here. And Kenneth Hall is not here. Guy is here. Tim Montgomery is not able to be here. Chris Tobin have not.
He's on Zoom.
Do I?
He's on Zoom.
Okay.
Keeping perspective, I'll try to speak up. Remember that this meeting is called as an in-person meeting. So the requirement is that if you are not in attendance, then you should designate an alternate to be here in the meeting. It's going to be impossible for me as the chair to run two meetings, having one in person and one on Zoom. So while the members on Zoom are welcome to listen, we will not be engaging on Zoom for in terms of voting and those kinds of. So while I thank you for being on Zoom, welcome you to our meeting. This is an in-person meeting. Voting will be established.
No, but
I was going to say there will be times where we make set it up as a Zoom meeting. We are all present on the Zoom call, and voting will be established through the Zoom. But don't really mind to do so. I think it's a good vote. Frankly, for the chair. So,
Okay, so I guess I'm asking if you're saying that's the way the rule always will have to be in person. We call it
I think that's the way to do, whether I or what future chairs, we call and say this would be a in-person meeting against text, or it might call as a Zoom meeting to be held on such and such a date.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with both. But so I don't know if it matters if it's in the bylaws or not, or how that goes.
There's no mention of meeting structure in the bylaws in terms of an in-person meeting versus a Zoom meeting versus a hybrid. existing flat community. This is my request as chair. In order for us to have an addition.
Is Kevin online? Kevin Hill?
He's sitting.
Hey, Michael, I am online. This is Kenneth Hall, MJRA.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kevin.
But you can't vote. But they're not coming.
That's correct. You won't be engaging. But you're welcome. Any other questions about that?
How long are we, just even this meeting for that? Because registration will be at the school. I just don't, I follow that. Registration at 5 o'clock at night. Get registration ready to do that.
Try to get to as quickly as possible, but I think that we have really to be effective here. Let's get the business of the organization done today. It's a lot of business. So I think we do it as quickly as we can.
It won't be like it was last year out in the arena.
It's in this room.
Okay.
I'm not aware of it.
Oh, it's not finished. We actually got my other channel. Oh, it's also finished.
It is.
No, it didn't call TPRA.
I already saw you here, so I went ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, because you were calling and checking being online
Yeah,
versus in
because
person. So
Kevin was the last person to be in Utah. I should have made that clear.
Okay,
Thank you. I got you. We're good at the point.
All right, we need to approve some previous minutes from November 22, February 23.
And actually, the earlier meeting was too, well, they were all sent out. Palm Springs and Denver, and I did last year in February of this year.
Everybody have a chance.
Each was sent out this morning. The others were sent out in our Phoenix meeting, but we didn't get to approving the minutes. In Phoenix, we deferred that to later in the day. The later in the day came and went. So,
Go back to give you a chance to review those. Looking at the minutes for February meeting 2023.
yes,
Did everybody have a chance to review those?
the last meeting was sent out this morning. The others were sent out in January.
February 2023.
Yes. No, all the others were sent out in January. The ones from Phoenix were sent out this morning.
So let's defer that to next meeting.
Thanks. Just wondering, because I heard that they were going to post it online. I hopefully that they would. That January, remember that. So, can we make sure that we have access to them ahead of time? For the next-
You can find it for hearing the secretary's report, some attempt to improve communication and distribution. All right, executive reports. I'm going to just defer mine for a little bit. All right. So, we have checks. I have copies. So,
had actually a few people already speak their requirements. So Toledo Orvez has raised $9. And so has Rocket Commons. Once David gets to touch, I think Rocket's actually a great person. It's 4,000. I have upcoming fundraisers. We have Bessie Taylor has one on May 15th. Weston has two, May 14th and 20th. And then Mata at this time. In regards to fundraising, already. Right. If Jack's doing a fundraiser for IGRA, and money that would be go unless there's trustee. Have a problem because what's the GGRA's territory based on and it's in Red River. So if you had a conversation with him, right?
I'd say that's from everything was okay. You're gonna be able to trust it.
So what's gonna happen is it's gonna fund.
Oh, it's not. Oh, so, yeah, but it's not. Or is it?
Oh, it's not.
So, but I told him.
Huh?
Still, CGRA, yeah.
So CGRA.
Because I think. The association,
So-
local association.
That is Monday to CGRA to have them chat to that guy. So not. You have to send a check to CGRA. Send. It doesn't make any sense. So we have a trustee here in Texas that's going to get us funded to sign off on it. Texas. Yes. So, and it's just a gray area, and at the bench next year, we're going to reword that. Yeah, it's not really definitive. It's much to be like. I was thinking I bet thing So I just want to let you know that that's what's with Western Texas Association. That's how the post. Yeah, like,
Brief, think a lot.
so that prevention that. So it's on. And
It's either exhibits or forms, that's where that is. And they've got it. No, there's two different things. There's one thing that has signed off, approval thing, there's like these steps, and then there's a.
You want, go ahead and, yeah. Mike, is there anything? That's 3 questions for. All right, next order of business is going to be our secretary.
All righty. Got some good news for y'all. The committee report, the contract presentations, agreements and so forth that are normally sent out the week before our board meeting through email. No, none of that minutes will be sent out through email prior to the board meeting. Yesterday, Frank and I worked together and we have a box under the webcast area, under the website, where we will be able to load all of our reports, presentations, contracts, agenda for the board meeting. And so you will see everything that has been submitted online. Hopefully that will help things a little better. We could send out a notice that we needed all the reports and briefings, what have you, by Thursday 7th. Both Candy and Brian both have said you need to get the stuff sent to the board a week prior so they have time to review. And I've never gotten the reports the week before. I got reports yesterday. I got reports this morning for the board to review and see. So hopefully us having it online will help. And so instead of getting multiple emails from me, you can just go look at that webcast box on the webpage and you'll see what has been loaded for the board. Any questions on that? Yes.
Is this a secure site?
No. Yes, it is.
Which one are you talking about?
The webcast where we're jumping
Yeah,
the
no,
attachment,
that's open to the public.
it's open.
The stuff that he's talking about right now is open to the public. If you go to the IGRA site and click on the webcast, there's a link that says documents. And there you'll find all the documents from each board meeting as far back as I've got them set up.
So we spent, had a really good time yesterday and finally, got to access working. So it's gonna be more online, finally. Got that work.
There's two areas on, right, there's two areas on the website. There's the secure board area for specific documents. And then there's the issue.
There are actually three areas of concern. One of them is called board only, and that you people are the only ones that can access that, but you have to request the username and password. There's another one that says secure general. You people can get to it, and it's available for people like rodeo directors, association presidents, and association secretaries. Again, they need to request a username and password. That's where we put things that are not, real secure type of stuff, but we don't want it available for the public. Then we have the system under the webcast documents, which contain documents that the board meetings or special meetings, whatever the board is involved in. That's publicly accessible. Those are the three.
Frank, where's the third location?
Where's the third one?
Go to the homepage on the website, click on webcast events, and then you'll see a link that says, under the particular board meeting we're dealing with, it says, actually, I don't have it up there today. If you click on the next board meeting, it'll go in and you'll see those documents, but it's under webcast events. I've been so loaded with work the last few days that I haven't had a chance to put the link directly to the documents, but that's where they're located.
Are you able to pull up on the show?
While we're doing that, I don't see my report anywhere, if any places.
There were a few that were sent this morning that I haven't had a chance to post
No,
yet.
mine was sent on the 5th.
I'll go back and look and see. Okay. Okay. If it's not, if I don't have it go on in the email, I'll get it sent out, but I think I got everything
Okay,
sent to Frank to load in.
underneath,
Going forward, I'll be loading it in myself, but we just got that working last night.
under calendars, it says webcast events. And, let's see, this is April 14th at Denton, Texas. Meeting documents. And then right at the top, it says 2023-04-14. And there are the documents that have been uploaded at this point. I just got a few, I got 5 or 6 just a little while ago, and I haven't had a chance to put them up.
Yeah, I do want to ask a question of the board. Since our February meeting, I was asked to get a document posted. I think it may be the lead contract, or anyway, it's a completed document, and they said, get this posted to the website. And I responded back, I said, I don't have a means to post that to the website. And so on the website, the only thing I've ever seen on the website were the agendas and the minutes. But like our arena contract, our rodeo applications, none of those are on the website. Do we need to work on getting a process in place to have those contracts and agreements on the website itself?
That's all in the books. You can nothing's been loaded since 2019. It's all.
Okay.
So this is a work in progress. I see a couple of hands. You, Frank.
Real quick, I am unable to get YouTube broadcast to work.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Just want to let you know.
One of my concerns with us putting this public initially is some of the stuff could be sensitive material that you got out there, but that would not go in the public thing. But a lot of this has not even been validated because we're here at this board meeting to actually make those decisions so that people actually have a perception of something that we completely changed here in this board and then made it. So to me, public documents shouldn't go public until once we have actually stamped them with our approval as a board. So I don't know if that's something for us to consider, but we might consider that because they're not actually, anything's not, none of this is approved at this point.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that. I have like 6 things that was trying to do. One is, I think we have to be a lot more cautious about what's public, especially if we have a negotiating paper where we're deciding on 3 bids.
Yes.
We definitely don't want, especially if they're competitive bids, you don't want to tell person B and C, oh, I can add $3,000 and still come in under their bid. We would never publish a proposal for a business contract at a public location. That's not a public record. Once we make the decision to select someone, then we get into it's more public. And once we activate that decision and act on it, then it is public. So it's definitely, if it's a proposal, a business proposal, or anything personnel, or anything ethics review, no way those should be published. So we should have a very high threshold for what goes in the public site. The other thing, I don't see the answer yet, but I'm sure Frank can give me one or can figure out one. If we're tying our documents to a calendar, next week, this rodeo goes off the calendar. And boom, now all the documents that we show from this week are gone. So we shouldn't be tying our documents to a calendar that's changing. Because if the link is in this meeting, that doesn't help us. I mean, it would actually be better for me personally, and other people may have other opinions. I'm welcome to hear that out. But let's have a secure location and then organize things within a single secure location, as opposed to these links that are going to disappear. Because we might need to go back and say, oh, what was that document in February? Who's got that? Well, the calendar's gone, the link's gone, the files are now still there, but they're kind of orphaned. So
The calendar does not go away.
yeah,
It's
but the meeting goes away. Do you have last summer's board meeting on the calendar
Yeah,
right now? It
Yeah.
sits up there
Yeah.
say this, obviously this is a work in progress.
I mean, I know, I'm all for what we're doing, I think this is a great thing, it's just, I think it would be nice if there, we talked about 3 different places to go. First of all, that's a problem. The more places you have to go, the more places you get lost. So there ought to be one place you go. And then there can be doors that people can go in and people can't go in, I'm fine with that. But there should only be one place to go. For documents. Or at least one place to start. And then it should be organized in a way that you can say, hey, now can I figure out which door I want to go in. It's like that.
What you're asking for is impossible.
No, have one directory.
So,
You're gonna put-
or you go
you-
to one place that says, I click on this, it's secure, I click on
you
this,
know,
it's
I
secure.
think I can help.
If you want everything in one directory, then everybody's gonna have access to it.
My plea. I think we need to get a small group together, people who have an interest and technology expertise to establish this process. It's an attempt, it's a work in progress, get out of the constant email that we've got. So, Michael, Frank, and I would need a couple of other board members to have a look at this, bring this process back to the board meeting. Anybody that's interested.
For the time being, for the rest of this year, or till we make some other change, is there an issue with me posting the minutes and the agenda and the committee reports? No contracts, no hotel deals, arena deals, just the minutes and the agenda in this repository, that everyone can see the minutes and the agenda and the, just the standard committee reports that are not revealing any kind of sensitive or confidential information.
When addressing Tim's issue, going back to Tim's issue, if things are preliminary, who has a need to know? Seriously. Board has the need to know. The public doesn't have a need to know what our agenda is going to be. And if you had if the president, if Jack's president needed to know something, they ought to say, hey, Jack, can you give me the agenda? And Jack could then send it to him. So we have ways to communicate with those other tiers of people, the presidents and the rodeo directors and the treasurers and secretaries. So we have a mechanism for doing that. I feel that we ought to kind of keep it tight initially and then figure out what we can lose. I don't want to start loose and then say, oh,
We're
hell,
trying to
we
tighten this
screwed
down.
up. Now we have to tighten. Let's start with a little tighter control, a little narrow, start narrow and then broaden as we go.
I was excited to finally
Yeah, just getting one document up is amazing.
what people have been screaming for, get the minutes on the website, and I was like, man, we accomplished that yesterday, so.
Yeah, and I realize that you can't do certain, you can't lock something, have something open. I can pull my thoughts right now, just lock everything and figure out how to.
Okay.
So is there anybody interested in working with
I
us?
would definitely.
So, Michael, you look at this, I'll do it too, Greg. Okay, David, thank you very much for David Hartwell. If you would look at this issue, make those determinations about what's confidential, what's not confidential, what's required prior to the board meeting, who and how has access.
We can have a phone call.
Then the point, I think the point that we're trying to get out of is, sort of what happened to us last time, which is constant emails coming in, updates, so on. And it's a bit of a transition here.
So question for Frank, oh, is he still here?
He stepped out.
I think is not.
Okay. I'm just going to ask him that when you post something up, is the date that appears on it, the date posted?
I'll
The date
have to
that-
look and see. We literally just got this working last night.
So that would be nice feature. That way, if I go in 15th I can look at everything earlier than the 15th. If I go back on the 17th, I go, oh, something
Yeah,
came.
I'm pretty sure that there's gonna be a date that's stamped, that, you know, when I post, that date is attached, it's not a date that I've changed.
This should just go on. Is it the same date on the document? Yeah.
So it might be, there's still 2 years.
So we're not gonna solve this problem here, not the wordsmith it, or fix the problem here. Establish a group, that's gonna look at this issue, come back, with the process. However, at this point, I'd just like to ask the board members, do you have your username and password? Current, all right, last meeting, we asked all of the, so listen up for just a moment, if you wouldn't mind. Last meeting, we asked all the board members to go to Frank and get their username and password to the board secure site. So that's fundamental, and that's your responsibility. And that's sort of the starting point for changing the way we communicate from email to some appropriate online posting of appropriate elements. So I'm not going to get to publicly shame anybody right now, but if you have not gone and got your username and password from Frank, don't come to the next meeting and without it. Okay? Any questions on that?
I'm good.
The financials have been posted on the web, the financials have been sent out twice. To Michael, the last time, I believe, now, last night, to his group. So I hope everybody got that.
They're labeled Steve. It's Steve Fury, it's not accurate. Yeah. You might wanna-
But they are posted on the web.
Oh, together?
They're
Okay,
together.
okay, the label,
They're together, David. They're there.
it's just titled, I mean, but they're on file, I guess. Okay.
Okay. Any questions on the financials?
Yeah.
Any questions on the financials for David? No, accounts receivable, the only one we have is James Howard. No associations. Okay, keep us happy. It keeps going up. All right, the next report is the trustee chair series.
We haven't met or anything, so there's not much of a report, but this is a little bit of a combination, WGRF and trustees. So I've asked previously, and we're asking again to the trustees, that if you can have a fundraiser for the WGRF, we're asking for everyone to try to raise at least $1,000. Arizona already did it. Theirs is done. Red River has got $500 so far of our $1,000 in. And so it's just a reminder going back out to trustees to at least try to get your association to fundraise.
Can I suggest, sure, email that out so that we can forward that to people in our association to get that.
Yes, because it was done, but it was done a long time ago too.
Oh, maybe, probably wasn't when I was.
Yes, correct.
I give some feedback. Sure. I have heard from some of the smaller associations that it's difficult for them to fundraise for. They're struggling to fundraise $1,000. So just keep that in mind. maybe some associations might be able to achieve that goal, may be able to contribute to the rate of tourism. Just like that, we consider that actually will pursue this.
Okay, and yeah, and we do understand that, and also understand we're asking the $1,000, that's obviously not a requirement. It was a goal set out for financially where that would put us. So, but I agree that there's other in-kinds that can be accomplished.
Questions for Sam? All right, the President's report. I was hoping to not have to read this, but I did do a written President's report. Did everybody receive it? Did you get a chance to read it? If you didn't, I need to read it. I mean, otherwise I'll read it. Read it. With my voice. Well, welcome and good morning. I'd like to thank you all for being here today and spending your valuable time, knowledge, and resources to support our organization. We have some tremendous challenges ahead, and it will take all of us to find solutions and prepare IGRA for the next generation of LGBTQ cowboys and cowgirls. This primary goal forms the foundation for all the initiatives that I and our committee chairs bring to the board today and in the next 2 years. To that end, I would like to thank the committee chairs and team members who have been working together since our last meeting. Take action, issue and propose initiatives to elevate our organization. To thrive, we need to take more action. And we will need to take calculated, informed risks. In the end, our 501c3 charitable organization will not be judged by the amount of money in our bank account. Rather, it will be judged by how we work together to answer the challenges we face and the improvements we try. I don't need to tell you that the environment around us has taken an ominous turn. We need to circle the wagons. We need to let go of past disagreements. We come together to preserve, to persevere rather through these troubled times. The challenges we face today are more serious, mean-spirited, organized, and focused than ever. Probably worse than our predecessors started this great gay rodeo adventure. Begin to address some of these issues, I've tried to broaden the scope, for example, of the safety community with a naming day that I'll bring to the convention, which is helping us. So I think we need to have a high, sort of sense of caution. We are an LGBT event, public space. And as you know, those can be dangerous these days. So the Health and Life Safety Committee Chair, Mark Christensen, is going to look into ways that we can be prepared for potential threats to our efforts. Here are some of the IGRA initiatives, and there's 5 of them. Initiative 1, update the IGRA owned registration and rodeo management system. Work has begun by Robin Walker Enterprise, so this is rodeo registration topic, and today you'll see a mock-up of the product. You'll be able to potentially test drive the registration section by most schools rodeo, although that will be aggressive. We'll test it. So we'll show you that. This project will require multiple fundraising events, perhaps including convention proposal for continuation of flat rate. Plus, here is an estimated $32 million annual cash flow for the IGRA in October. This will pay for the part A of this budget, and the first year of this, and may provide ongoing revenue. Work has also begun on project B, vacuum. Initially, we thought that there were two separate projects, however, combining these two projects would facilitate integration, potentially save costs and revenue. Final contract will come forward for approval. Funding for this will come from a variety of sources, including a $15,000 capital to continue the development, need to apply for grants, and potentially form 501c3 capital. As president, and based on our discussion, the current circuit of 1985 system presents a looming existential threat to the organization. We cannot pass this along to the next generation. Initiative 2, marketing and reconnecting with the LGBT sport rodeo enthusiast public. As president, through extensive conversations, I realized that we could become a very internal-looking organization for the last 10 years of this. Talking to ourselves about ourselves and assuming the community was listening. They are not. And the effect is showing in our public attendance. This may be a contributor to our contested population deterioration. Today, you will hear some work, hear some things by the newly formed marketing committee chairs and committee on a revitalized marketing plan to attempt to improve public awareness by IGRA, including the World Gay Rodeo Finals in Belgrade. I hope they'll have your support. Initiative 3, the complimentary public-facing gay rodeo website linked by IGRA, etc. Bush Frank would hear this. All right. IGRA.com is a treasure for our organization. I hope you all realize that. It's probably the most extensive repository of food and historical information in LGBT support organization. I would challenge the story of their organization available to the public. To reach the IGRA naive, however, the marketing committee has developed a complimentary website created on public. The primary goal of this complimentary site is not to replace IGRA.com, but to answer the question we uninitiated potential participants. How do I get the demonstration of that today? And that has been put together by what I've learned to be the amazing Scott Forrest and his amazing abilities with website design, website maintenance, and other quite skills. And of course, the work with the chair, Scott, co-chair, and being involved. Initiative 4, Road to 2025, 50 years of payroll. As president, I see two IGRAs. This is developed over years of personality conflicts and urgent goals of the organization. It will take time and effort on our part to do it. However, we are presented with a starting neutral, common opportunity to come together as we approach the 50th anniversary of Gay Rodeo in 2025. My goal is to encourage the organization to return to the birthplace of Gay Rodeo with the IGRA World Gay Rodeo Finals over GRF 2025 will be just following the 49th anniversary of the first National Regional Gay Rodeo, which was on October 2nd, 1976. World Gay Rodeo Finals will be the first rodeo of the 50-year Gay Rodeo, and several years prior to the creation. I believe this initiative is something that we can all be part of, putting aside our divisions and working together, common, triumphant accomplishment. Maybe the healing will begin. Today, I will ask you to approve a visual representation of this initiative to be used over the next 2 years. This medallion can be used on all of our fundraising requests to illustrate our long-term stable leadership in the area of acceptance. This physical patch that you will see can be used as a fundraiser. To me, this is one of our most important initiatives. Focus. Section 2023 is a plan of renewal, but primarily to connect the city leaders, tourism board, facilities, hotels, surrounding multiple communities, and facets. He presented a conference hotel contract that I think you'll find appealing. And I hope you support this. Initiative 5, restore a revenue producing merchandising. IGRA still about. As a 501c3, we're allowed to produce revenue from retail sales, which equals about 10% of our total budget. Technically, my understanding is that nearly 90% should come from charitable donations and grants. However, as addressed, as we're not there yet, we have a little bit to go. We need every revenue source we can muster, and the marketing committee, along with the executive director, created an online, on-demand, low to no inventory retail store to sell hydrated merchandise to members. Today, you'll have a demonstration. Hope you support this potential revenue stream, organization awareness, and culture building. It's not just about being out there. I help to endorse it. The IGRA store.com site will also be available the vehicle of convention registrations that is consistently and readily available year over year. So we're not sprinkling at the last minute. How do we get to convention? Initiative 6. Okay, revised. We will present these updates of the rodeo finals. We must achieve operational and financial success to basically future rodeo. While this is a convention-driven issue, we are behind in this effort. We need to catch up and get into long-term planning at least 2 years out. We do not afford to be linear with our signature annual design. To that end, I have established a 2024 and 2025 planning chair. We will research potential locations, venues, logistics, conditions, local conditions, and details. Once data is collected, it will be used to educate delegates and the board to make more informed decision. Planning committees will eventually turn over the operations of the operation last year. Please engage with Ron Trusley, 2024, and Roger Bergman, planning suggestions or discussions. No action is needed today, but I want the board to endorse a long-term planning approach and simultaneously develop rolling from 3 years of local to additional items. I have assigned each board member as a liaison to one or more of the standing or ad hoc committees. If the chair of a committee is a board member, they have become the default liaison. I personally cannot be the primary point of contact with all IGRA committees. Job as board liaison assigned to the committee is to encourage, support, be informed, report the board in the absence of the committee chair, and otherwise be appointed to contact that committee chair. Be mentored. If you have a problem with your assignment, please tell me. Please see me. We have several small initiatives that need board member, that we need a board member to lead, or in panel or group to find a solution to the issue. Two examples. We need a board member to learn about an education from the corporate workplace donation to national. Many of our members work for corporations that are matching donations. And it's a place for us to seek out revenue. For one example is I don't even money to IGRA. For Mark's project. And I submitted that to my employer, contract employer, and I believe that they approved it, they either have, or they are going to match that $1,000 donation. I think there are other opportunities out there. However, I can't drive it. So I need a board member to do that. People, educating people, asking them, educating them how to do it, telling them that it's available, whatever. We need a board member or a group to launch a quarterly GoFundMe effort for a specific IGRA project. We need a board member who may be interested in creating a capital. I'd like to talk to somebody who has an interest at all in developing anything. I do have some additional resources outside the organization. There are lots of things to do with IGRA. And if I miss the opportunity to ask people directly to come to the industry, it just means that I'm around, I don't know you're out there, so I'm asking you to please come to me and tell me what you'd be interested in. Just want to kind of get a feel and a consensus for where I think we're at in terms of our launch. So you can correct me, this may be correct information, this may be incorrect information. But this is where I think we're at in terms of long-term planning. World Beer Rodeo Finals is in Halloween. Beer Rodeo Finals are 2024. It's to be determined. Planning chair is researching operations for consideration of conventions 2023. Hopefully we'll have some data to the finals 2025 to be determined. Planning chair is researching options for other places for consideration at convention. Actually, Convention 2023 is in Reno, Nevada. That was approved, hosted by IGRA. You see a contract here today for the convention. Convention 2024 is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They'll celebrate and recognize the 30-year membership. This was approved at the last meeting and hosted in my group. So,
One line stop.
I don't know about that technical thing, but I'm going to need to turn on and obviously update. Convention 2025. Denver, Colorado has indicated interest in holding Convention 2025 in Denver, Colorado. I believe this is in conjunction with the full year end.
Last year,
You're still interested there. So that's just, Convention 2025, CGRA has expressed the interest of IGRA University 2024. I believe we approved this for January of 2025. You can check junction, the Cincinnati Classic Gathering of International. IGRA University 2025 needs to be determined at convention 2023. And IGRA 2026 will need to be also determined at convention. Now, in terms of rodeo funding, if you recall in the past, we had our rodeo dates planned out about 3 years. Michael Lentz, I believe you were very active in creating that form. We need to accomplish that today so that we can get that on the website and look at what our seasons coming up may or may not be. So that's my goal. That was Michael's ready to spin around a sheet to indicate those data. So we're going to do that. That's the end of my. What questions?
Just a comment. So the way I'm understanding it, and I missed that last part of the board meeting, whether or not that I saw it. A lot still has to be to do it. You're just directing it in that direction.
Needs to be, if you think about convention really is charged with that long-term planning. We got away from that a little bit, and I'm trying to catch us up to a rolling 3-year planning process. I think it's only prudent for the organization. So some things will come to convention, some things will come to board of directors. So, other questions?
So just to clarify on the phone software, you said that phase 2 is already in development.
What would be done?
Pay the retailer, I don't have a signed contract. Pay the retailer,
Bank of retainment, yes. Based on
where the back was serviced.
the proposal that was.
Sorry, again, I missed that part. We've already paid the $15,000.
Correct. Let's approve that the last.
Well, I think what was approved is that we were going forward with the ICBS contract. And so we then was back and forth with the contract. But I didn't realize that we had paid them already.
The final version of the contract.
Just one question, how are we paying money when we don't have a final version?
Yeah. Well, my understanding is that we approved the proposal. Proposal was begin with a $15,000.
That was in a slide presentation that we looked at when we were. meeting.
Oh, no, I'm pretty clear on what I said.
Yeah.
I'm not making this up. Because I'm the one that said we need a contract before we start paying anybody.
That's
So we
correct.
had that fallback. So we paid, started work, but we still don't have a contract. Which I think, I mean, I'm looking at it now, and I only had noticed one issue that it's like the full thing. I had to go back to that. I just want to be clear on what. That's fair.
Contracts needs to be approved or not. If you don't approve contract, stop work.
But we are at that point.
So we're bound no matter what.
18,500 into it already. No, 50. But didn't we have a $3,500?
It's been fine.
3,800.
38.
900 up to 38.
of the 38, so we're not.
Mining project, and that was what the picture had.
So it get a little bit confusing. And, I got a little out of order, if you will. But in order to get the project started, pay the $1,900 deposit on the part A, and we paid $15,000 on part B. But we kind of combined those projects size. Will be more advantageous to us to bring those two projects together, will be more integrated. Um, I'm open to what the board wants to do at this point. How do you want to handle the project? Discuss it when it comes up. We'll discuss it at the time we got in the agenda for the contract approval or. So. Any other questions? Corporate audio.
I have experience with lots of it.
What not in the report was. Anybody have any questions about it? Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, first off, I want to remind all trustees to work closely with your rodeo directors, presidents, whoever, and get your stock contractor liability certificates to me in a timely manner. The rule is strict and painful if it's not followed. Any questions on that? Okay. The next item that I wanted to discuss, and I was hoping Frank would be available to bring this up on the screen, but I've had a few of requests for club insurance applications in the last few weeks. That application is online to fill out and mail in with a $250 check. The application is very simple and very easy. It's not intricate at all, quite frankly. If you choose to fill it out and send it to me, I'm happy to send it on. But the address, Tammy's address, Western Specialty Insurance address is there. And it's easy, just write a $250 check and turn it in. We'll have flow insurance. Reminding everyone that the insurance that we currently have is rodeo liability only. I get several questions about that throughout the year. Yes, sir.
A couple of weeks ago, I don't remember who, but they sent a question about adding an event insurance coverage. And my response, and I talked to with David, was that you need to talk to Tommy on that. I don't know if that got taken care of. And I couldn't remember who it was, but I think it's Tim Montgomery. Okay. That's a cool one. Do you or I need to follow up with him on that?
Any insurance questions, you come to me
That's what
and I will.
Okay, that's fine. I forwarded this. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. What I said. About the rodeo too?
It may have been, I'd have to go back and look.
The current policy covers rodeo and rodeo school if it's on
So thank you. Any other questions for Tom? All right, it's been about an hour. I'd like to call a 10-minute break. Let's see if we can get Frank to come back. And so take a 10-minute break. Yeah. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Hopefully people will come back. Hopefully Frank will come back. Otherwise, we are sort of getting water here. I think I'd like, before we get to the big controversial issue that was just raised, I'd like to try to go with some. Smith? No, it's supposed to.
I think there was like a drawing.
Or something, anything non-controversial. All right, you're going to dance. You're a dance report, you dance chair. We don't have dance, we don't have dance chairs. I was supposed to be. Let's see. Just looking down the list here. What's that?
Didn't name other vice presidents.
No, I'm looking at, the governments.
Let's see. It used to be waiters. Yes.
Mary, I
Mary,
think Mary.
Yep. Pork chops and then there's a lot of pork.
Let's go to pork chops.
Yeah, that's the. Oh, I have to take it. For everybody. Yeah.
You think it? I'm looking to see if I may have forgotten. Better get that email followed.
So to recap, I guess this, it did go out to the committee. I sent it to Michael. So the Rock Committee met on March 7th. And the Judges Committee met on March 21st. The Arena and Shoots had a combined meeting on March 29th. The Auditor Secretary Scorekeeper Committee met on April 4th. The recertification exam was sent out on March 30th. To date, 12 of the 27 officials have taken the exam. There's an average score of 96%. Everyone who's taken the exam has passed the exam. It has a due date to be completed by May 1st. If it is not completed and or passed by May 1st, those officials will have their certification extended still. Everybody will get the test if it isn't passed by the end of the
Any questions for?
So the minutes from all of those meetings will be whenever they get sent out, because it goes at your leisure.
And I just took care of that. We got Scott's, work for prediction.
All right, let's do Scott's, Scott Cole, can you get an update? Convention.
Sort of. I was not able to attend some ceremony, so I did get the thank on behalf of my district. Selecting. So really excited to actually have something like your related back 10 years. So a little presentation that I did. Point. Month or so, I had over the. And the 6 weeks. We don't stay business provided that, so I'm gonna stay there and then probably put together like a
nothing more video presentation. Better athletes and people see what they're like, try and get some, maybe rough idea of what airfares will cost once come home. So you can travel on. So, that's it. Yeah.
Are you doing any active fundraising as an association?
As far as,
Just in IGRA. Well, the reason I ask is, I guess it was the last rodeo. Worked at rodeo, and I received a backpack with the association logo. I still have that, and I haven't used it. I'm thinking I could give it back, let y'all auction it off for some fundraiser or whatever that would be. Sorry. Sometimes see silent auction, bring in a little bit of money.
I mean, I mean, kind of like with the COVID and everything, I think, like you said, I talked to the people, we sat back up a little bit. We've had some board changes yet again. Restructuring, but we do have plans upcoming this summer for fundraising and whatnot. And as I know, for us, what might get done.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions also about? What we're all looking for. Mark, Christensen, don't want to put you on the spot.
Yes, sir.
You and I had a conversation about health, safety, and also.
Yes, sir. Had a little discussion with Brian about health and safety. One of the things that need everybody to make sure to do, we have rodeo out in Arizona and never ever got any injury reports, anything, we know that we had injuries out there. One of the reasons why we need to make sure that we get our injury reports in is because me being in the health and safety division myself, they can come back in a couple of years to bite us in the butt. And so we just need to make sure that everything's reported and make sure that we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed. And just it helps us out. All of this. The other thing is, Brian and I'll talk about with the health and safety. It's not only for the animals and for our ones that are out there riding, it's the people that's in the stands, and it's our own group right here. We're in a wild and crazy time out there, and it's not. We've had several occasions where there has been threats to LGBTQ community. And it's not if it could happen, it's when it's going to happen in the rodeo. I hate to be bad news, but that is the truth. And so one thing that you don't look at is security for your rodeos. Are you making sure that everybody is safe? Or would make sure that everybody's safe there?
Okay, even our conversation, mentioned it, put together sort of a guideline.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, language, actually, we're subject to happen. Some instructions. So, since this is his area of expertise,
Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of doing like a little, we'll have it for Oklahoma. And what it is, it's just like a template we're going to use to help and safety plan. Pretty much for your rodeo. It's exactly what it is. And
Just doing, it's up there, fill in all the blanks where we have it. And if you have any questions on any of it, let us know, we'll help you out. Yes.
Anyway, so to add this, and I believe it was Chuck that went ahead and reviewed our, okay, because the discussion was who and how and where these interim reports come from. I think that's where the problem comes in. And so it was, and the review trustee is to fill out the interim reports. And Chuck, I think, forwarded that to me. Did you forward that to all of us? Did you get that? Because Jeannie had asked that question in Phoenix at the meeting, if you remember, about who is supposed to really
Oh,
fill
yeah,
this out. We have to sign them. It shows like arena director or shoot warden, there's signatures, everything that we sign. But it says the review trustee fills out the injury reports.
And you're right, Chuck did set something up right after that post review.
Yeah, I know during the post review meeting, we were sitting there and I'm like, you know, we didn't have any injury reports turned in, and Ron was like, oh, but, you know, there were injuries, you know, I said, well, and I had a form up at secretarial, but it wasn't an injury report, I think it was an animal, injury thing, but not a contestant injury. So, are we all in agreement that when a contestant gets injured, we need to have that paper trail of the injury?
Good.
Okay.
We need to have that paper trail. We need to have that paper trail. And it's just, I mean, it might not be right then that something happens.
Yeah.
It could be,
Yeah.
it could be
In the
6 months down.
past, I know we have struggled with that. And when I'm working as a secretary and I'm like, okay, you know, or taking minutes, I'm like, well, I know that there were 3 injuries, but there were no injury reports. And so,
It tells you in your checklist what you do with those injury reports.
yes, it
It
does.
tells you what they can, the review trustee is to fill out the reports, get them all signed, put them with the checklist, and then that checklist and everything will go to you.
Yeah. So what I do is when I get all documentation from the post-rodeo review meeting, is then I'll scan those injury reports and send that to the health and safety trustee, committee person, and say, oh, here, these were all minor, no big deal, or, oh, someone broke their leg, or whatever.
So, Sammy, we have a meeting. I just put it on the thing.
Thank you. Any other questions from
Just a suggestion, that when you go to do your policy type of thing, that you're gonna do, you may think of outside the rodeo box and convention, things like that. Would probably work with the post hotel, that kind of thing.
If anybody has any suggestions, comments, send me an email. Let's put it.
One other point real quick, so just so y'all know, when you go online, in like 4 or 5 different areas, there's different injury reports. So it's
wanna
very
clear that up.
thoroughly confusing, because some of them say the voluntary, which is what it says when you check with the voluntary, getting voluntary injury report, and some don't. So we probably need to consolidate that somehow, some way. I don't know if that's in your area or not, but
We can check that out. We'll have to do that convention one, Brian.
no, it's,
I don't have the access to clean that up.
Okay, we just.
yeah, there's several of them, and
Yeah.
they kind of match and then some don't match.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
all,
very good. Let's move on. Did everybody get a chance to review the 2023 Reno Nevada Hotel Convention? Are there any questions? First of all, can I get a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve.
So, discussion. Any discussion? Surface, meaning Nevada, I think we made a big deal of pretty much most of it. No discussion, all those in favor, of approving the contract, say aye. Opposed, say no. Three, rodeo final, rodeo official selection, is subject to approve the official selection. Which is
The list of officials was sent out this morning. He sent me the document this morning, forwarded them.
It should be twenty
Other
twenty-three
documents.
WGRF.
Okay.
And I'm gonna call that third document.
Can I save you some time, Sammy? Sure. And make a motion to approve the officials as submitted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion. And a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Everybody comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. And those officials are. I think Michael looked at this one. Primary grand marshal. Nomination. I think by three.
Yes. Right. There's a form that we have for the nominations. Those forms go, I believe, to Sammy for Grand Marshal, Honorary Grand Marshal, and Hero. And then at the next board meeting, the board of directors then votes on who the Grand Marshal would be, the Honorary Grand Marshal, and so forth. So if you need me to send you that form, it is also on the website, but I can send you the form, or I can send the form out to everyone on the board too. And the nomination can come from anyone in the organization. It doesn't have to be us or.
Can we establish a due date that they're getting started? No, the decision has to be made by the next board meeting, but you don't do anything, so it has to be, that's the due date.
Well, the nominations are due by the Q3 board meeting, and then we send out a ballot.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That is the day. The board.
Yeah.
They're due Saturday.
Question, why don't we do it earlier? We're doing it on the third, right? And we send it out ballot. That's kind of close to you guys. For rodeo?
Well, what's that in July?
First weekend in July.
That's July.
And the July is in
And
October.
Is there any desire to have a date certain for those to be involved?
I think we should have a date, because
Can you make a motion guide to, on it?
Doesn't it already have that in there? It states that, how are we overriding that, right?
you know, it just says prior to.
Oh, okay, prior
It's not a
to,
date. Sir.
oh, I thought it said prior to that board meeting. So you had.
It's like saying that June, prior to the next vote, or when's the next vote?
Yeah.
Can you pick a date, so I can make the motion?
Yeah, so as it reads right now, it's due before the third quarter, or by the third quarter.
June 30th. I moved.
Well, I'm almost going, that's where I'm almost going, July 1st. I think July 1st is the fair date, that gives us enough. And because by the time it comes in, gets voted on, then you contact those people and make sure that that date's available for them. It's a little bit of time.
So you want July 1st?
That's what I say.
I moved it. Will be here.
Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye. Opposed say no.
I have a question. Michael, what do you mean when you say ballots will be sent out?
Nomination forms.
The nomination form.
You said ballots would be sent out, though.
After
After the nominations, then, well, so you saying would we?
The vote is taken. In
We
the
voted to be
past, the vote was taken at board meeting.
Yeah, okay.
So there's no ballots to send
Okay,
out.
I missed.
You'll write a ballot to
Yeah, yeah.
hand out.
There's other ballots that will be generated out of the third quarter board. after the meeting. But yeah, the grant marshal and all that stuff, we can vote on that at the meeting. That, we're in agreement. Sorry, I misspoke.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Okay.
Yeah, so, and then Michael, you said there's a possibility you sending out nominations.
I can send out the form.
The form, who would you send to?
I would send it to all of the board members, and you can disseminate it to your association. And you know, someone wants to nominate. I use the vote, but I don't want to throw gasoline. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you would.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We're going to try to break for lunch at noon. Don't lunch is not being provided to the members. So I will listen to this. We can number it. I'll go with the hour 15. No, we're going to do for lunch. We're going to do radio contestant.
Oh.
Get that. So the next item on the bit of business is the rodeo contestant entry management system proposal according to agreements. And you should have had a contract to you for approvals. Let me recap the history on this to the best of my understanding. Best of my understanding, we had a proposal. We acted on that proposal. We agreed that proposal. Included in that proposal was deposit to be paid for Part A and Part B of this proposal. Everybody understand by Part A? Yeah. Okay. It's not a Medicare policy. Part A is the contestant entry process. The contestants choose their events and sign up, and basically creates that one-page form that we use at registration. Part B is the behind the scenes. Part B is behind the scenes, replacing the DOS-based system that we've used since 1980. As you know, those two pieces are not connected together, and it requires volunteers to manually transfer data into the process. So that's where we're at. My understanding at the time is we approved the proposals, and I asked David to go ahead and pay the deposit as part of the proposal. However, I'm seeing a lot of confusion. I'm seeing a lot of lack of consensus. I'm seeing a lot of people that need to be caught up that weren't at the meeting. So perhaps the best place to go with this is to go back to the beginning for me. So, do we want to do this project? Yes.
I think it's important to, as part of the history, is that essentially this proposal A and proposal B that we said we are okay at the time. In February, we said, yes, we're good with proposal A, we're good with proposal B. Essentially was a replacement for the RMS system and getting our rodeo management back in-house on a IGRA server managed by IGRA. So this is kind of the next, the evolving from RMS to something that we do internally. We currently have the barrelrace.com for rodeo registration, and there are fees on top of the registration fees that the contestants pay, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head that on an annual basis, those convenience or service fees or whatever you want to call it would total about $3,000 that the contestants are paying to register for our rodeo. Now, in the Robin replacement of RMS, that registration process would be internal and the service fee would be eliminated that contestants are having to pay. It's the way I remembered it.
Yeah.
So, I would say. We are, we've got, which is us, which we follow. The proposal has already been approved. It's simply been an interstate contract. Check it out and unapprove. Proposed. Once the board is approved. Which will be by before. So, the approval of the contract is just an administrative task. And my understanding.
Thank you, Jeff. Let me just, if I may respond, I think probably the most important thing is that we all go together for this. That I really want us to either, you don't have to be unanimous, but at least we need to be, majority of people are bought into this project.
What Michael said is partially correct, partially incorrect.
Okay.
So then the credit card fee would go, IGRA start paying for it. And what you would be paying is 5% that goes to 10. No, it's 3 and 5. It's 3 of it is to cover the credit card fee, 5 of it is her charge for using her site. So, but then IGRA would start having to pay the 3%. The contestants would.
So today, when, okay, we'll use tonight as an example. I come in and I register for Bull Rag, and I use my credit card, or I pre-register and David processes my credit card. IGRA is paying that credit card service fee attached to me spending $30 entry fee. So we're currently paying that 3% on credit cards today, aren't we? For pre-register.
Today, ebarrelrace.com is the 3% of credit card fee, and the 5%.
Okay.
Okay. I get the cash by wire of what she collected for fee. I turn around and write a check to Texas, and Texas deposits that check, they have all the prepaid fees.
Yes.
Come in tonight, if you pay cash, if you pay by credit card, it's TGRA's credit card use, not IGRA.
Correct.
Most of those are 2.9, these are 2.9. Yeah.
Chuck, just want to go back, remind everybody that we're talking about contested fees and what I think. Let's not forget that from the $30 and entry fee, that's typically $2 to that. Which one of those was? $1 with them. We support that system. And next would be Tim and then Bill.
Okay, well, I think the perception of what we were approving, I think is where it got complicated for some of us. Like, basically, I always thought it was, we were not going to spend any money at this point, but we're going to move forward with the changes that had been discussed. And I do know that about, we're not going to check or whatever. So I think that's where it's kind of get what we're really approving. Because I don't know what the minute, what it actually read, if I go back and look at it here. But, so I think that's where that issue is. Because when you talked about that 3,000, Chuck actually touched on that, because I was going to say, that's actually kind of covered. Because from a business perspective, it's not smart to say, we're going to spend $50,000 to absorb, to take care of $3,000. So, I mean, that's another way of looking at it. Is that cost effective? However, it's not just the front end, it's also a back end, which is where a lot of our issue is. It's not a
Guy, can I just have you hold for just a moment?
Your turn.
I'd like to ask David to give us kind of an overview of the status of the back-end product that we use for.
As you know, the back-end product has worked since 19. Has everything. However, every entry fee that is paid to the borrowers, I have to put that the dollars. We cannot interface this. And I feel every so that one then I physically produce the entry. The other is I can do that. Partners are there, but and then it's okay, Guy.
So from the beginning, I've always been concerned that we're doing this without. I know exactly brought this up at the last meeting. I guess we've applied for one grant. There's hopes that we will get funds to cover this, but as this contract stands today, by the calculations based on what's been provided, for 26 weeks, the first 10 are covered for the by the $50,000. There's 60 weeks remaining at the plus 48,000 for a total of 63,000. As of today, our equity in our bank account is 33,000. So now we've already engaged in the project. So I think by sending a check, we basically signed the contract. But my recollection of what we explained was that we voted to move forward. But when that motion passed, I said we need to make sure we have a contract before we do anything because we should have learned our lesson on our messes. And so then we said we would get those contracts. At the time, it was going to be 2 contracts. It was going to be one for the 1,300 and one for the back end. Proposed, but then over the course of whatever happened offline, those became one, which is the contract that we if the contract itself was fine. And I think we covered as far as warranty and all those issues that were brought up. But where we're not is how we're going to pay for this. I mean, I feel like instead of being in a position of having that first piece for $3,800, we're going to be in a position of having that first piece plus a little bit we can't really use yet, the $15,000 plus the $1,900 credit that I guess we cumulative amount that we pay for like 50% of phase A, phase 1 part of the project. So I mean, it's a great concern. I mean, really, if you have the money, I don't think it's a matter of trying to sell anybody on the product or that the old system does. I mean, it works today, but it could become extinct in 6 months or a year from now. We don't know. I mean, technology. So that's my understanding of how I feel like we're
And kind of go on along with what workshop says. You've already paid the $15,000. So that's going to take us to a point with this contract, correct? And then at that point, are we on the hook right now to continue to pay as it moves forward? And here's where I'm kind of going with this. I don't believe financially we're in a situation to do this. And I would like to see us get funding for that because the whole time this thing's been talked about from the very beginning was how we're going to do some fundraising, we're going to try to get grants, we're going to do all this. And I know that those things may be in process, but they have not materialized. So this is money coming out of our pocket right now. And then, like I said, again, I wasn't at the meeting, but when I look at the minutes, I'm not sure which part of the minutes shows the approval. Is that something was done by the marketing department? but the way in Phoenix, it says approval of agreement set by the marketing committee was approved. Okay, so then in the meeting, in the minutes, I'm not seeing that in there.
You're looking at me, I don't know why.
No.
He's
In the
looking-
minutes, it
he's
should
looking for
reflect
somebody to help him
that
find
the
it.
proposal for the the proposal 1 and proposal 2 were both approved by the board. So that we approved the proposal.
Okay. Can you look in the minutes and show me where that is? Because I'm not seeing the ones that were sent out.
Okay.
Is it up top or is it?
David's the one who made the motion.
Can I just ask Dave for factual information about the modification? Dave, can you just?
Okay, as of March 31st, after we paid $50,000 and the 19. In our savings account, 629. In savings, not 31,000.
Okay.
Equity is 39,000, so we've obligated, we have a budget, we're anticipating standby, we have money in the bank that's earmarked for other things, right? So I mean, unencumbered money, or it's an equity, that's what I thought that was the number I.
Okay. Checking cash, we have 71,000. We paid. So there's a total of 74,000. We have 1,900 is encumbered. 3,600 is encumbered. We have some pre-budget items in 25. Wayne Tequino, 47. And Bob Pimentel, crisis fund of 55. Total of 18,000. That brings us down to 34,000. Well, start for.
Well, I see,
And that's at this point in time,
that's the total liability, 4,000, right?
look up at the first part of your liability, 16,900 is for payment of the contract.
$16,900 is what we paid.
And what is it?
Well, no, because it had.
Is that why it says $30 or whatever?
1,900 and 15,000 comes up to 16.
Don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. That's what we paid for the first 10 weeks, plus wherever that I.
What we paid for the first period already came out of cash. This payable for what we owe, provided we go through the whole time. So after we pay off all of this for the system, we still have 34,000.
System's gonna cost $63,000 based on this, what it's given. I don't think it's $3,000 a week after week 10. And it goes to 23.
Worst case scenario.
All right, but that's what's in writing, so that's what we're held to. Unless, I mean, there's a 30-day cancellation provision. We're asking what are we obligated to do? We are obligated to give 30 days notice, which means at minimum, $12,000 more if we don't cancel it or whatever, put it on pause for the 10 weeks.
Okay, and so this kind of goes along in the financial parts of it. I got this off a website, I couldn't find, the one that you sent was CGRA, so But right now, just for the month of March, for computer software, this is profit and loss now, this is not a balance sheet. We have expenditure that we've paid $33,800.
We are on the accrual method. Okay. That means the full amount of the agreement in your expense. 15,000 came out of cash, or 9 came out of cash. 9, 0, pay. Accounts payable, those things, $2,000.
That kind of makes sense now that we're saying earlier, but that's taken for granted that we paid half of it, we're only all half of it. But it should be,
Okay, in accrual accounting, I took the whole 30,000 and 3,800 and was net expense of it.
The contract outline, contract outlines sort of the range, like best case scenario, worst case scenario range. So that's part of that, couple of that is, and then we are as a board to have David and Michael and others work closely with that. We drag our feet and we're not responsive and so on, and we drag out. So, okay, not clear on what we are providing to the programmers, then, something great. The other thing that I was really the board, really responsible for is I totally understand that it's valid. And we go on and on. We did it, and Jeff, not overlooking the point was that we the proposal, now we're looking at contract. And we, I don't want to go down there to go with that. I want to force something to work. It's obviously a risk. The board has an obligation to work to raise the money for the things that we need. It's not just going to come to us. So a capital plan, capital plan, surety good, we could pull out a capital plan to get 25, 35. I've already had some coach about funding account. I've already had somebody approach about major donation. We need to work getting the next. And we need to raise. I understand. The guy, I always just indulge me for the moment. We agree, oftentimes we do need to, so get the money first and then spend it. But I think we need to set a point where we need to make a change going on. So I go back to this basic fundamental question. Do we want to go ahead with this project? It can be stopped. Yes, sir.
My understanding after the Phoenix board meeting, that I know there were email conversations back and forth where he submitted the actual contract, spelling out the terms, and then feedback was sent back to Robin. Oh, we need to, put limits here, limits there, structure, and that it's not for a better word, it's not a blank check for the.
that's exact term I used.
Yeah. So my impression was that discussion had taken place from the IGRA perspective based on input provided by people from this board, and Robin was contacted and he was like, oh, yeah, we can change this or change this wording to you put some caps in place a little bit.
Thank you. Hearing the conversation going on here, we have contract. The money's paid, is it refundable?
I'm sure it would be. I would just give Robin a call and say, Robin, are you gonna find out that? I would just, call Robin and say, Robin, the board didn't sign the contracts, how it works. Refund the money, pay for whatever was done.
That's,
Sure.
I'm actually glad to put that out there. I was kind of thinking in the back of my head that when it was two pieces, we should have gone, let's see how the first piece works out first. So that we know, I mean, you know, there's this kind of thing, I mean, you can't, it's not a crystal ball situation. So you can guess all day long, or we can hope all day long, but that doesn't mean we're gonna be in the same spot, right? So if we were to do the registration portion of it, and know that we're not gonna have all these hurdles or whatever, we're comfortable with being forward. I mean, we lived through that whole RMS nightmare, and it just, we were hopeful for evidence that it never went anywhere, and then we ended up at that. Yeah, and I get that, you know, I wanna raise the money before we get covered money. If you're like, we could pull the trigger or whatever, but I mean, this is a big thing. It's not like we're pulling the trigger on a $3,000 expense. This is potentially, I mean, it's tens of thousands of dollars. Either way, best to work this.
Yeah, if I, again, indulge me, I had a conversation with Robin, said to me, one, which I must be, is he makes the first piece, without understanding the part B. We may have to throw out the first piece. Because we, you know, we're building it in, sort of in a, building the first piece in a vacuum. So you can give me $3,800 and I'll build you the first piece. Okay? But when we get to do the second piece, the back end piece, that first piece may be useless to the back end piece until we fully understand the back end piece and how the budget works. So we can do it. But my suggestion is that you bring those two together so that we can actually create the back end infrastructure first, then integrate the registration. So it's a conversation that I had with Bob. So that's when I kind of make a suggestion. Put this into one piece rather than two pieces. It saves, could potentially save for you. So just a reminder that currently we're paying $3,800 a year to a third party year over year.
Weird.
You know, our constituents are
The contestants are.
contestants. Anyways, Jan?
So, division. I challenge myself to this. First off, I love this dialogue and its financial success and scrutiny was amazing. But I wish with all of the consumer business that out this much, AKA fine. It's for the file, but you know, I checked with them as I want and had very little to allow, right? So there's a leap of faith, I get that. But I struggle personally why we're scrutinizing this so much when it saves in the long run based on my observation of the agreement of the contract. It will ultimately save a number of money and in addition potentially provide a revenue stream going forward in part two. So just want to say that I mean, not that I mean it's a question, but I appreciate scrutiny, but and we should apply it to all aspects of the business.
Did you find it in the minutes?
Yeah, oh, I was gonna ask too, did we ever get the answer to that? Because
We did.
we may have just beat that dead horse here.
That can be, in Phoenix, there was a motion to approve the rodeo registration proposal, Motion to approve was by Chuck and seconded by Jack. And the motion passed.
Proposal.
Yeah, and then the proposal B was motioned by Chuck and seconded by David Hill, also passed. The second proposal was the back end. The position A was the one-page proposal on the registration process.
So, but you didn't put them in, you didn't put that in the minute.
They're not
You sent out.
Looking up.
What was sent out looks like an agenda.
Well, first, just an announcement. Fortunately, for this level of conversation, it's just going to be the board, not us. So it's just. But secondarily, I would really encourage us, maybe not look backwards, try to get up to this meeting, figure out what we want to do going forward. Is blame or we getting ahead of, we getting ahead of the board's desires. I accept them. I can rectify that. If that's necessary. Do it. But I'm wanting the board, either the board to catch up with me, or me to come back to where the board's at, and go forward. I did what I did based on what I thought was approved and best interest of the organization going forward. If that was wrong, I accept responsibility and fix it. However, let's get into today. Let's understand what we need to do going forward from today. So for that, I'd like a motion. I don't have one of this. That is all. I trust you.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
No, we're just having a general discussion right now. At
I was
this
going
point.
to attempt to, so if you guys avoid.
So we're just having general discussion at the moment. I think we can get to specifics and got Chuck. Chuck Brown.
And as much as I appreciate the in-depth digging, again, you're looking at 1 year of expense, but you have to look at how much value increase. We're not growing our capacity. We need to do a better job to do that. One of those things is to find a better way to do this registration, but also we have people that are doing it in the back end that are spending hours and hours and hours and hours. So you don't have to break some meat on this, but it's not a issue. It needs a better way. As a contestant, you know, I know because I know the rules that I've been contributing $1 from every event to support online infrastructure. Okay, when this new system came up, I'm paying additional. Okay, that's not necessarily to me the right way. Okay? But we're trying to move it to that direction. The contestant can still contribute to that, but we need to earmark that out so David and the board can see exactly how much money that is. Then approach it, but that money will still be coming in, $1 for every event entry from every contestant.
Is it even the way we did that way anymore? Because I remember you had years ago.
We just
said
changed
that money goes to IGRA.
We just changed it to put it into the budget. Doesn't change where it is. But not to get off task, you know, we're a business, like, we're dealing with systems that are from. Right there. Gotta be smarter and look at better ways to do this. Yeah, there's a financial risk, but you know how to do fundraising. Everybody does. Every rodeo does it. Sometimes not every rodeo has the money to buy it. So that's how I got tripped. I'll get on my soapbox.
Yeah, so I appreciate all that. Right?
Information.
Yes.
Not sure what we are.
I'll be back later.
So what if we spend money on it, and what has been delivered?
We spent money on this. We've spent $1,900 on to get started on the part A
of the project, which is replacement of barrel racing dog. And then we spent $15,000 to get started on the battery replacement of DOS rodeo management system. Now, we haven't spent it. We provided a deposit that was, how much of that money was spent by work? I can't have access to that, or I can get access to that. And, I've launched after meeting in January, I launched them and said, we approved the proposal, approved the $15,000 begin with. Don't know that. I did, Robin, and again, Robin, you know, 4 times I've told the board I have a conflict of interest here. So please be aware of that yet again. Robin asked me how often you want to take reports, when you want, you know, writing and so on. So they got that email, write that if you like. They have just having discussion. They've created the infrastructure for it. They what's called a Spring Boot platform for it. They created the schema to develop the back-end product, front-end product. They have a design for the racing for barrel racing that looks very similar to barrel racing. And that was because you know, we don't want to be shaking the contestants up all the time, all this changes, right? So it's going to be relatively seamless to the contestants switching from barrel racing to the IGRA version. Things like
Because the system they're developing is based on the existing system they have, and they started from scratch.
they're starting from scratch, and they
All
are.
that needs analysis, like this, not there all
Yes, so, I don't want to be the talker. Robin came to the Mexico rodeo last year and sat with me and the secretary. And we went through our whole system. So he got a very good background.
There is in the documents that I've sent y'all.
Point of order.
Yeah.
I was called to speak and Mike hijacked me and you guys just continue to go around. And I said, I'm not sure.
Point of order back, point of order back. You spoke just prior to Chuck, and Mike did not speak, so I went to Mike now. I'm really on board.
Everybody gets to speak once.
Yeah, so Mike's turn because you're already.
Well, he's already spoken, so I'm not doing that.
All right, who's speaking right now?
Well, I was thinking, well, and I had a fair amount. I'm thinking maybe we could find a middle ground in this. So I don't know how far into our 10 weeks we are. We can say, Robin, hey, now that would be our 30-day notice that we want to have a benchmark and a checkpoint. And this is the set up for the meeting. So that I can probably involve some of us offline to figure out where we are and what we do. I think we've already paid the money. I feel like we have to sign the contract. But can we sign the contract with the understanding that we're gonna have a checkpoint so that we don't, we're not obligated legal $12,000 to be safe, that's what. That's the method we're talking about.
It certainly does. Robin is going to give us constant updates
Umbrella, he asked me how often you would like those updates. For those updates, they can be weekly, they can be whatever. So I just want to be clear on something that was said. We don't have to sign this. Don't want to do this stuff. Okay? I don't want to feel the board feel pressure in just signing this. I want us to go in willingly, knowing everything about it.
Yes, I would just like to point out that, Robert's rules does allow moderate conversation to allow time to decide if the motion is in order. This conversation has gone on for quite some time without a motion. Quite frankly, I feel it is time for a motion or to move on.
Thank you for that. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion to approve the contract. Second, by discussion.
Can we eventually discussion, I don't think that stipulation.
Interested.
How often do you want updates?
Well, we need to create a benchmark at week 10 so that we are at least on pause without having the 30 days notice and encumber positions.
I have no issue with that stipulation. Okay, wait, I asked you for a second. In your document that I sent out, there is an update from Robin where he has screenshots and examples of what they have come up with, and it's like matching our current registration form and what have you. He said we've taken this and it looks a little different than what we saw in RMS. Our registration form is go one, go two, go one, go two, what have you.
I mean, maybe it looks like this, Jack, you said something about your scrutinizer or whatever. I have skin in the game, that's my area or whatever, great, but I also have skin in the game as a board member, and I just want to make sure that we do not bankrupt ourselves with our system. That, I mean, this system would have been great when we had 200 contestants, but now we've got like rodeos with 25 contestants, like now here we go, we're like, let's spend all this money on what? And, I mean, the first piece, if we start with, we know that it's not, we're not gonna build the back of the first piece. This is like start.
So for the minutes, how often do you want updates from, or would you want updates from the vendor for?
So let's shut in the motion. Then you make a motion. So you would need to make for yes, we're good at the second.
I don't think it's an amendment, it's just a request. I think it's a very simple request. Like
We can ask for weekly updates.
can ask Robin for whatever. So it's not an amendment to
Procedural. I just want to make sure that week 10, the clock stops, you don't have to, we're not obligated to 30 days notice or anything, and we don't know anything until we decide this is worthless.
Just going to say to Michael, this is very technical, right? This is the first update that I received from Robin. You send it to Michael. I don't think
That's what I said.
Oh, but there we go.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, it's all right, let me try to follow. Let me try to get from there. All right, rediscussion, 10-minute discussion or lunch on the motion on the floor, which is to approve the contract. Caveat that dive in place to get the updates.
That would need to be in the contract for it to be binding on everybody. It just can't be a procedural
That's last thing.
thing that is a verbal agreement.
Bullet number 10. That's why I'm saying we would have to notify it. You have to give it 30 days notice.
Yeah.
So I think under that bullet, we would tell him now, which is well in advance of the 30
You say 30 days?
I think it's
30 days.
30 days.
He's been agreeable to everything we've asked so far.
Well, then he might be a great guy, and we might not need this contract. We don't know.
Yeah, that could even be an addendum, if we want to approve this, as long as Robin is agreeable to that, that could be an addendum to the contract. And we could approve what's in front of us without having that language here today.
So, Dave, just from a legal procedure, we can create that addendum and ask it to sign.
Yes.
Sign that at a later.
The contract.
All right, so I think, is there any more discussion?
This would be good.
I really want us to go forward together and not, I want us to go forward together, realizing, making a great commitment, raise money, and we've got manage this stuff. So, any further discussion? By show of hands, all those in favor, please say aye.
Please raise your hand.
Roll call.
Okay. Michael Butts. I'll vote yes. David Hill. I vote yes. And Mark.
Yes.
Michael Lentz.
Yes.
Jack Morgan.
Yes.
Chuck Browning. David Hartwell.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Porkchop. Sammy Simpkin.
No.
Tim Smith.
No.
3 no's.
This third,
Those are Michael Butts, Sammy, and Tim. And the rest are yes. So we have 9 yeses and 3 no's.
So the motion carries. Thank you all. Now we need to get to the work of actually getting this. And, it's almost lunchtime. So, let's meet back here at, why don't we read it? Okay, thank you, David, that's a great idea. 10 minutes to, so, David's just gonna present the budget, which sort of dovetails in with this.
okay, the budget committee form, I used the Excel version. It doesn't look very well. We had a meeting on the first with Patrick Perry regarding the convention budget, and on the 6th with Gene, Tom, and Scott regarding merchandise. The action required, I have submitted an updated budget, a revised budget for the year that you should have received. Royalty had no change to their budget finals. The only change was I added the alumni $10,000 income and cut out a final sponsor. The net effect. Pension is what the majority of it is. We've got, if you look at the revisions, we'll see now again. But we're still projecting that to be a 0. And then on the general budget, grants income, we increased 30,000 to offset the software expense. And there was $1,000 income and expense for merchandising. And the revisions column that was 30. Of course, it ends up with a 0 at the end of the year. Any questions on TPI? Convention budget, I thought Patrick was going to be on here. Hopefully we'll get 3,000 in sponsorship for breaks and whatever. We assume 135 for delegate alternate fees. I think we might give people.
We'll need to actually approve that delegate fee, right?
I believe the executive board does that.
Okay. Well, okay.
Is that true? But that's what we do. But expense wise, you know, you've got breaks, you've got luncheon. The delegate fees covered by luncheons and part of the breaks. Any questions?
So after today, we can now go back to our associations and start voting and soliciting sponsorships. Well, I raised that idea and I was told we need to get it free. Okay, well,
So I submit for approval a revised budget one.
Any motion to approve? So second.
Second.
Any questions for the discussion?
No change. Marketing budget for 2023 was 5,000. No change to that. Oh, it's 5,000. Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll recess for lunch. Oh,
I'm like.
just want to get out of here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. We'll recess for lunch. Yeah, we'll reconvene at 1:15 and we'll just have new business to go through and it should go relatively quickly.
Michael, it's already had.
Thank you all.
That's not us.
Okay, it's 1:17. Thank you all for coming back from lunch. Hopefully, need to do a roll call.
We can do that. Let's see. Michael will be here. He's talking from the.
Michael, if I may, the purpose of a roll call is for the member to voice their presence to create quorum. The member should say here or
Okay,
not.
okay. All righty. Michael Butts. I'm here. David Hill. Here. Andy Pratt. Mark Christensen.
Here.
Michael Lentz.
I'm here.
Jack Morgan. Chuck Browning. Wes Gibbons. David Hartwell.
Here.
David Lawson. Here. Scott. Here. Kenneth Hall.
Here.
Guy's here. Ken Montgomery. Not here. Chris Tobin not here. Sammy. Here. Here. Tim Smith.
Here.
Kevin Hillman. And the one and only Tommy Chen.
Probably as well to create quorum. The non-voting members do not count.
Correct.
I'm still here.
I'll reply back to her.
Let's carry on then. Just before we get into new business, I've got two items that I'd like to have brief presentations to the board. Mark, would you show the board what you're looking on in terms of under Judging is amazing, by the way. Potential for.
These are just examples, and it's not the final data point, but there is, I'll pass these around and you can look at them. For the alumni committee, we created an official sort of presentation, so when you receive tax letters or
a solicitation letter for $1,000 for the next 3 years. You'll recognize that what's in that envelope. And so we've already raised, I've already got 14 pledges of $1,000 for the next 3 years. It's quite a bit. We're continuing on with that. We wanted to create the trifold in order to take us back to the beginning, and it's for the road to 50 years of gay rodeo. That is the main focus. And the money goes to 3 categories. One was the facility. When I hear about in the meetings about health and safety, for instance. One was facility because we need a professional space in order to create rodeos. 2 was our stock. We need professional grade stock for safety as well. And then the third is for the royalty program. Those are the 3 historic things that Ragsdale, when he started rodeo in Reno, Nevada, that was the 3 things that he focused on. Because he was Emperor One, Imperial Court, yada yada. So at convention last year, I got an idea that maybe we could have a fundraising initiative called the Alumni and call on people that no longer are probably involved with rodeo, but they would still like to support it. And so that's the initiative that we're doing. These are just some ideas. I love the logo, the whole idea. And like I said, we've already raised quite a bit of money, so it's ongoing.
Just to be clear, this is the people of Marcus Contact have committed to providing $1,000 per year
for the next 3
years.
For the road to 50 years of gay rodeo. It is to ensure that we reach the goal of the road to 50 years of gay rodeo. That we have a golden anniversary of gay rodeo.
And primarily, it's for wheelchair rodeo.
Gay rodeo.
It's going towards facility, security.
Facility, which is security as part of that. Facility, stock, and the royalty program.
Very good. You've got 14, $14,000.
I have 14 pages
So far.
So far. Yeah. And even when you mentioned about corporate sponsorship matching, even my boss matched that fund. So the company I work for matches that fund.
Thank you.
If anybody has any ideas or any suggestions or any companies that we need to ask and that we work for, I will gladly contact them.
Have you got a hold of the regional director for floodlight? For
No, I have not. I'm not seeking. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't, but I'm not seeking on behalf of IGRA.
Okay.
You're reaching out to individuals.
I'm reaching out to individuals.
I was just going to clarify that. So the intent of Mark's program, even in alumni, I know some people may get a little confused on the word alumni. That is inclusive of us who are members or have been a member for a long time or a short period of time and or former involvement. And I'll just use this person just because it just came to mind. But if we went to Kim Dawson, who used to be on the circuit and work the rodeos, to say, hey, would you be willing to do this? Then that's kind of the intent of this. And then the other area I want to touch on is people might start getting crazy with royalty. So the intent, I think, is like say royalty, is if, and I'll use El Reno, correct people, I may not be right on everything, but initially you had the arena, and then you considered doing, it's not here, royalty in the other room. Well, then the committee would say, hey, well, we'll pay for this, for them to do that, and that's not coming out of the WGRF budget. So, but was I correct on that part of the El Reno, right? That room is separate? Okay, yeah. So that would have covered something like that, just so y'all know.
I also created the alumni membership cards. So as trustees of your organization when you're here, I'm asking that you honor those membership cards at your gate. on all your rodeos. These people are donating $1,000 for the next 3 years. Your association members are benefiting. And they're benefiting in that the IGRA is producing a finals rodeo for them.
Great, Mark, thank you so much, and we'll take a moment.
Thank you.
By the way, Mark is great at applicant plans.
Oh, sorry.
Very smart at
Finish.
Just that process. Next, I'd like to introduce David Smith, and David has a fundraising. A fundraising effort that he's going to introduce to the board.
Hi, everybody. As you know, I'm now royalty for New Mexico Gay Rodeo Association. And something happened to me at finals last year when Aurora Gayheart sat on my lap and somebody took a picture of us and showed me the picture, and I was like, Aurora, how would you like a Mr. next year? And that's how it all kind of started. And since I'm not a competitor anymore, I've always been competitive in my work field, working for Edge Magazine 4 years ago, doing publicity for LA Rodeo years ago, when Roger was more involved, and then assistant rodeo director for finals a couple of years in 15 and 16, and I have a great passion for IGRA. So I came up with an idea to do the Bubba's Bake Sale, which you're going to get some sample items made by Randy Ell and myself and Miss Aurora later today for contestant registration. We'll be back. We made $744 at the last rodeo, and we're not going to make that much at this rodeo because Arizona's a little different than people. So that led me to my next fundraising idea. When I dedicated the bake sale to Bubba, since he's one of our members and we all loved, he dropped dead last year, I thought, let's do an IGRA memorial quilt. So 4 months ago, I called Jeff Bolsaki, who is in charge of the World AIDS Memorial Quilt. And he said, we have no control, you can do this, this is a great idea, you can call it the IGRA Memorial Quilt, the IGRA Memorial Blanket, or just the Rodeo Memorial Quilt. So that's the idea I've gone with right there. I'm calling it the Rodeo Memorial Quilt Project. What I've done is I came up with an initial idea when I was working with, I have a quilter on board and I have an embroidery on board, and I came up with a format like this. And on the top of it, there's a banner that says, Memorial Quilt, past 50 years. And then one last ride, they will never be forgotten. And so every panel will have 15 squares. Every square goes for $150. Let me take it a step further. So far, I have 12 commitments, excuse me, for people that we've lost over the last years. And I've got samples of the quilt made up. This is a rough draft example for you all to see it. And now the next piece of paper I'm going to pass around is a list of the names we've gathered. And there's two things I want you to do in this list. The third page was a donation by Carl Schmidt. He's going to be sponsoring the logo because we're considering that one of our squares, because he doesn't know anybody who's died from my list yet. So I'm going to pass this list around. I'd like you all to take a quick look at it. We've got about 46 names of those we've lost on our list. And so far, as I mentioned a minute ago, we've got 12 commitments of people that want to do this, but I wanted to bring it to IGRA for approval because I want everybody to support me on this idea. So this is an actual example. 12 by 12. I'll pass a couple of them around. We're improving our fabric. This was our first run of this. And this was approved already by Roger. He would like this on the quilt. Roger Bergman bought 2 squares for the quilt, the people that he's loved and who loved him. And then this is another style of the same one you see with Wayne. So you have a choice of the arch or the square, okay? You guys can pass those around. And then this is one more for Dwight we did up.
We originally thought of doing $100 square, which would be just something with their name and number on it. But then after we realized the work that's involved and the money we can make, we're just gonna make them $150 a square. And they can put a couple lines in there, like you see Wayne. Wayne's is the one that we really filled up as an example of lots of things on there. And then, you know, if it's somebody like myself, I would be an announcer and a contestant. You know, you'd have 2 words on there at my number, something like that. So that's up to the individual who buys the square.
You do a graphic or a logo.
Hold on.
Here it comes.
Here's our logo. So this will be center square of every panel. Okay, so every panel will have 15 squares. So if we sell 30, which I know we'll sell easily 30, that's 2 panels. If we sell 60, we've got 4 panels. These panels I want to all be together. I want all of our past members in the arena with us for our first 50-year celebration. So I'm presenting it to you today, kind of in conjunction. We're tapping into, you know, the first 50 years of our rodeo association. Just for your approval and your blessing on this project. I'm representing New Mexico Gay Rodeo Association this year, so I would like 10% of all the proceeds to stay with that association, and that's after any goods and services, so it would be the profit. And then 90% will go into a general fund to IGRA for finals, whatever they need to support. Yes, Brian?
We will prefer just general.
I want to say general fund. Yeah, at this point, I wanted to go to IGRA general fund. I've just got, if I run for Mr. IGRA this year in October, I'm about $100 shy of already making my requirements this year. So today's bake sale will cinch that up. And then from then on forward, I'm going to be donating more money throughout the year to NMGRA and IGRA as well as part of my royalty commitment. So I'm not taking this lightly, but I would like some sort of an approval or blessing from the board. That's why I wanted to bring it to you today. Yes, Mike.
So what are your production costs? Who's actually doing this?
Gene actually offered to donate services. However, I talked to Roger about this. He thought that's very nice, and he didn't think that's a good idea. So, and I talked to Gene about that too. So we're talking maybe he's going to charge $10 a square. So I won't spend more than $400 per panel is what I'm thinking of all goods and services. Our quilter, we came up with a fair number. He makes $800, $900 a quilt on his own, on his private business. Now, Billy Peterson is our quilt maker. Billy Peterson is the name of, some of you will remember he used to compete years ago. Jeff was his lover, and Jeff and Leonard, my ex, got together. Billy and I became friends as we were the exes, and then they were the new couple. So Billy and I have had 30 years of friendship. He was also a contestant years ago as well. He loves this idea as a quilter, and he's very passionate about the quilt looking good. He's providing his own back to it. We'll have a great big cowboy hat on it. So the quilting will be all designed around that and the quilt. So it'll have 2 nice sides to it. We'll just be primarily showing the front side of it. And I worked on this project from the inception with Roger Bergman and Sunny Rose to gather the names that you guys have seen, as Brian has them now. So that list, what I've said, if you guys have read the names on that list, anybody I've forgotten, they're not forgotten because I just haven't put them on the list yet. So if you have a name that you'd like to add to the list, please let me know and we'll put it on the list. I know there's people we're missing. I'm very passionate about this. Leonard Ray's the one who brought me into the rodeo 30 years ago. I'm sponsoring his square. You know, he was my partner that brought me to the rodeo. And Simone, Amy, I called Amy and shared the idea with her. And she was actually excited about this project and said, Dave, this is a great idea. I'll take a square. Of course she will. You know, and so the people I talked to, nobody has had anything bad to say about it. I think it could make us easily $10,000 to $15,000 over the next couple of years. Whether I run for IGR royalty or not, I'm still going to head this project up. I would like Michael Kaplan, who's now treasurer for New Mexico. I work really well with him. He's a bulldog with finances. I wouldn't worry about a thing with him. He'd want every receipt and every I dotted and T crossed. He would be where the money would be channeled to. We could put it through the New Mexico, or if I work with David on something to get it lined up. If people want to pay IGRA directly, they can do that too. And then have Michael and David, you know, share the money portion of it. I won't be making anything on this. This is my service to IGRA. So there will be goods and services for just Billy and Jean, and they will be not more than 20% of the overall picture. I'm going for 10%. Any more questions?
No, does anybody feel we need a formal motion to approve all these fundraisers?
I was gonna say yes.
Make a motion. Make a motion. Motion to use the logo for this.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Thank you, guys.
Is that the black box? They have to request it.
Oh, you want written for me?
Just fire me an email.
Of course I will. Yeah. So you want that right? No, I can write it down right now. Make it vote out, because I want to control that.
So David, I have a question.
I want to start like.
David, take it offline, you're gonna move on with the meeting.
Okay.
Take it offline with Chuck. Thank you so much for what you're doing. These fundraising efforts, just FYI, these fundraising efforts are.
Ross, yeah, we'll go to archives. We'll go.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Thank you very much, David and Mark, for this.
So that's 10%.
This is the way we work to make money for the general fund, but to pay for the projects that meet the sort of discussion. So thank you for doing this. All right, moving on. Okay, so just one last thing. I did pass around the sort of visual representation of the Road 2025. You've seen the paper version of it in the alumni. And these are 4 potential samples of what a patch could be. So, for example, this could be a fundraiser. These would cost us about $3.50 each to take. But I don't know what we pay for these, but I would pay $20 if I wanted to put on my sleeve or my competition shirt or a sash, whatever. So I guess what I'm asking, so if we sold 500, that's probably $7,500. So I'm asking that we approve the medallion that you see in the print version.
You want a motion or a second? Second.
Any
Motion.
any discussion?
You asked.
It's a request. There, I will get written permission from Mr. Brown after you. So we will. These are 4 samples. We won't be using all 4. We're going to choose 1 or maybe 2 that people could purchase. And
What was the price per unit?
$3.50.
Or how many, what's the minimum order?
I believe it was like 400. A few hundred. I've got to get. I think it can be a fundraiser. So if you're available on the audio store, you'll see it latest in hat format and in t-shirt format.
What's your producer for that?
This is Tim from G.
Oh.
No, Tim had asked me, I thought we already approved this, and I said, no, I think we've been talking about it, we didn't make notifications, but this is actually different.
That's correct. This is where we're sort of finalized it. It's also coalescing and we do. All right, got a motion. Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the IGRA February 24 rodeo application. Discussion on the application for Arizona's rodeo in February. Just one point.
Just a reminder, with that first shoot.
We're actually replacing the sheet. We have 3 brand new sheets.
So they're gonna pull the ones from under. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Rodeo applications. We just did the second item, we do this Missed much. I'm gonna leave the junior radio, the junior royalty to a little later on. It's controversial, so I'll just get some of the rates. Scott, Chuck, are you, could you be ready shortly to show the public facing website and the stuff with Frank's? He's gonna put it up there. So if you want to get ready for that, I'll just go on and talk about the things that I just. So, yes. 2024 will be a polio bonus planning committee update. As you know, established a planning committee, an operational committee, not a rodeo director. Just to start looking for sites and places with the current rodeo planning committee, bringing suggestions to the board and open venue for sites and locations and that stuff. So Ron Trusley is looking at 2024 opportunities, and Roger Bergman is looking for again, this is to get us out of this linear approach.
So right here that I get.
Starting. Gonna do this.
Let me start this second.
So if you have.
Store.
Yes, you did. Just at this point, this is just FYI. In 2025, if we were to do it, the ideal date would be October 13th, 2025. Discussion with some of the bylaws folks here, in the executive committee, this will be addressed. Open the city, board meeting on details.
Comparable. But yeah, I almost down.
One by Ron Trusty. October 9th, 2025, that's correct. Well, that's.
We don't know facilities. It's about, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so, in the 2025 report from Roger Berg, the dates of October 13th to 13th aren't practical.
But you're gonna prove that in Oklahoma. Is that what you said?
Well,
we could have said.
Yeah, we could have, we could have in. So, okay, so we're going to approve it in Oklahoma. Chuck,
So these would be the same, we would like it, it's, so we have to draft. So we go back to the instructions.
oh, I see. So it needs the dates approved, so we can bring more information to the Oklahoma. Or,
Can I ask a question on that? So if we approve the date now and then that facility doesn't get approved, but we lock into that. If we can just. Because we just saying, because FYI type of stuff, you know, when we did Scottsdale or anything else, you saw the contract person and say, if you have any dates available, then what would be?
currently, the October 9 through 13 date is available. Tommy, we're just moving the date so that we receive with presenting further
October what?
9/13.
It's October 9 through 13.
That's 17 days from my area. Looks like it's 18 days. It's just there. It'll be September 18th to the 19th. 13th.
One day off.
Good enough.
So moved.
Is there a second on the date? Any discussion on this? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The date.
And I pulled out the list, I just, I got the list, right, got it right here.
Can you make sure that motion specifies that specifically? Because I think that's where our problem's going to be. We're not getting specific in our motions. We're doing big general motions that are very specific, which is what we should be doing with motions. Because then there is no
Specific
question.
For
what
the
the
9th
intent
to
is.
the 13th.
Ron, read the motion.
But it's,
Motion to approve final state of 2025 for October 9th to 13th.
Hope is we did come down to legal back to see contracts. Give you some contract there that we want. Or we don't need to put those until the contract. Everything that's, it's including in the back.
Appreciate it. I think the board needs to explore.
I've also, yeah.
Yes.
Is there a little bit off track, but pertinent? Has there been a location or suggesting run for IGRA?
Anybody aware of it? Just So Ron is working on, he's the chair of the plan. So he would, gather that information.
Yeah, that's all.
Maybe a selection between.
I would have information that I'm going to forward to that. I wasn't sure whether I was to go to Sammy, but I knew because there was nobody listed. When I looked, I could look for planning. So, I do have some information I'm going to be forwarding. I'm not going to go into details here. I don't have any because I'm going to forward that to someone who contacted me that is interested in wanting to bring it to a certain area and all that. So I'm going to forward that information because they're considering underwriting. Of course, there's no just go with that. So that's why I don't discuss it.
Okay, real quick, the reason I asked that is, because I think it's absolutely awesome that we are planning for 2025, but we have jumped an entire year without a plan. So it would behoove us to get 2024 in place ASAP, so that there's, no confusion moving forward. My thought on that, if a proposal for 2024 could be brought to Oklahoma, it would be absolutely awesome.
Or the board will need to make a decision. On the city, on where they're going to be.
Correct.
And Ron Trusley is going to gather as much information to these locations, dates, etc. So they can do that, and bring that to the board.
Awesome.
Hopefully we can get a located audio files on the books, get it over to the operations team,
Right.
and then start. Make sense?
I did move going to go.
Oh, can you agree? Yep. Patrick.
Any question marks?
Yep. Then Tim has information on this. All right, so let's go to the, what we do, whichever one you want to do.
That's kind of three. Long store of that. So
Scott, you noticed I've been absent. I'm very stuff, but the merchandise that they will have shrunk in just well done doing well with the merchandise because that's really um, Brian had asked in an effort to maybe drive and renew and drive some of the revenue from merchandise, make a store website. It's an e-commerce site. So actually, if anyone has internet, you put it up on the screen too. It's kind of a mock-up, and it's live, but nobody except for here really knows the link to it at this point. And that's public. So IGRAstore.com. We had a conference call that you can have. So the phone and talking about what type of items that we're going to sell. Obviously, the pricing and stuff on there. I just had to put a number. It's not actually up there. But we're going to get a list of prices, colors, items, all the things that we're going to do. Brian has brought up that the IGRA delegate convention registration paying for it just to see in the store. You know, that came up at convention about where people were going to register and that sort of thing. It's got to be simplified. That'll be one way to do it. Maybe the only way that needs to be done. But around, it's very easy to change. If you, Frank, can you just maybe click out a couple of those? I think they zoom in. These are not actual things. I just kind of mock these up with the hat, the logo, and what it's going to look like. This is basically your typical store, you know, color, options, sizes, price, hat. We talked about purchase and credit cards, so we just tie all that in. This platform will actually provide data with revenue, quickly from that, where it's coming from, how many items it will do inventory, if we want to go that far, and track how much we have for Gene, because he's going to do a lot of production. So we'll be expanding this quite a bit more once we get the items and pictures, things that we're going to do. Make those up to 50, yeah, mock those up, but that's going to be a important part of the fundraising and commerce and everything over the next year or so. So, IGRAstore.com. One thing I'll say about all three of the sites, got some more to talk about, it automatically detects the type of device you're using. So if you pull it on your phone, it will format it for your phone. You've got to go side to side and still for anything to like purposes, just based on what device. Oh, one other thing too, and I'm going to include this relative to all three of the sites that we're going to talk about. The contract for this does not exist. My growth fund will talk to this for all three of them for the next 2 years. So we don't want IGRA to have to worry about that. I don't want payment for the services to do this. My pleasure.
So, just for, I'm saying microscope. Just so you know, this on store is with the thought process of minimal to zero inventory. And the inventory that would be there would be items such as the patches that were passed around, and we have to order the transfers by the lots of 50 or 100 or whatever. Those are the in-stock items that would be there for Gene. And what I refer to as build your shirt. There'd be a grid of colors. He has red and black there. There would be more colors to choose from, appropriate colors. And then there are actually 4 logos to choose from. We looked at them during our conference call. They would be there. You would select your color, size, the logo that you want transferred, where you want a large on the back, or big on the front, or on the left or right, and things like that. So I just sort of labeled it "build your shirt," and each of those things, then when you are finished and check out, all of those things are added. You could potentially have a $50 shirt, a t-shirt if you want, or a $20 shirt, a t-shirt, whatever. Does that make sense?
So Tommy, from a content point of view, you'd be sort of driving content.
Yes,
You'll have to be helping with that.
right,
Okay, well,
right.
So, also the convention delegation.
Right, if WGRF comes up with a souvenir T-shirt, it could be on there. Of course, you will have inventory for that, I would assume, and ordering them.
So for convention registration, we need,
Sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
So I guess a couple questions. So this is just an online store. We're not gonna carry inventory
Correct.
at all, except.
Not currently.
Except WGRF may carry some inventory to have there to set, because
That would be a WGRF budget.
didn't y'all have it online before, but not a store like this? Y'all had, inventory was online at one time for IGRA.
That's
How did, I mean, was that like,
It was
Did it not
in stock
do well?
inventory.
right, yeah, but I didn't know, did that online sales do well?
It
For
did
us?
moderately
That's my
well.
question, is how well will online sales do for IGRA versus being in person at that function?
Well,
Or-
that's to be determined. And that's why we're going zero inventory.
Okay, gotcha, okay, that makes,
To see how, to see.
okay.
So at a rodeo, you may have some examples. And then say, here.
And so,
Here you go. But, no, we're not gonna take these policy, but extra lot box, all that stuff.
You would have some traveling showcase of stuff. And what I'm saying is samples. They would see product samples.
That was not discussed in our conference. I am honestly, I honestly, sitting here right now, am opposed to that. The online store is there to build your shirt, the colors, the transfers and everything.
So we better how to drive traffic for that.
correct.
Michael, and then Mark.
So for the convention registration, we needed to capture their first and last name, their association, and are they attending as a delegate, an alternate, or a guest?
Like all that could be done offline. We're just doing the start, right?
That's for the most
I
part.
think there's also,
All those options, if you actually go where it says delegate registration. All your information, your association, but I know there are options for delegate. So,
Well,
yeah.
that information is very important to the IGRA secretary. And when we don't have that data, it creates lots of issues.
we will work out the logistics or not, we'll work out.
Right.
At this point, I think we need a motion to adopt the IGRA.
So,
Second, other discussion.
Recommendation that since it's gonna be built to order, we're gonna have to be very specific, I think, on what size of the charts, like when you buy a shirt online, it'll say, whatever it fits, so that when they get it, we can send it back, so the fingers
well, and the chart.
vary on their sizing.
Gene. I mean, he's not making the teas, but he's the transfer, he's the source.
Any other discussion?
I got a question. It's, how is the pricing developed
For,
for the, let's say, pick a t-shirt?
it hasn't been.
Yeah, that's something.
Not there yet, okay.
This motion is just to establish a site, get started, and toward.
If there are suggestions, absolutely.
Chuck, can they be written roll call to use them?
Right.
Hey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. I think it's a great opportunity. All right, Scott and Chuck from the marketing committee, and the IGRA public facing website. Frank, you left the room earlier, but in the report, I reminded the board what a treasure trove of information we have at IGRA. And it's probably one of the most complete stories about supporting organization, historical point of view that I've seen where we've probably seen where for any organization. So thank you for all you do. Scott, do you want to give us the public business?
Right, so. And I'll mirror or echo what Ryan said, you know, the IGRA.com. Everything you've done is valuable. There's so much out there. I'm still, you know, maybe people I was telling someone yesterday, like all these full circles since 1979, these are programs for rodeos. I mean, no, you don't find it anywhere. So yes, definitely appreciate. The keeping with current times, Ryan had asked if there was something we could do on the flip side of the intranet part that Frank handles, if we can do something with maybe a little more modern and current. Point your browser to gay-rodeo.net. And this is not a replacement by any means. I just want to make sure that you understand gay-rodeo.net. We intend this to be just maybe a little bit more of a visual. You look at IGRA.com, it's text and white, and this is more visual pictures, and I'm going to go put some videos and that kind of stuff. A way to generate interest for people who have no idea what we're about. Again, this site, maybe people are out at a fundraiser or a bar or something like that. It's going to be tied in with QR code. All the marketing materials have a QR code that will go on it, so you don't have to remember the domain. But everyone's carrying one of these around, so you know they'll be able to scan it. It is specific again to whether you use a computer, if you use a phone, format for that purpose. And it's the basics. I do have, if you look at it, the event descriptions, visual. I really got pictures, you know. I have not created those individual things. I'm actually going to try. I've got my own camera equipment and tripod this weekend. I'm going to try and get some of that and put it on there. But it's more about a visual. We do have some of the important things, not as of interest. I think having a portrait of here who the leadership is, that's important to have on there. So even if it's public facing, someone who wants to see what our structure is like, who the people are that are going to run the organization. The links, the Rodeo History Hall of Fame royalty, all that's pointing back to IGRA.com. I couldn't tell you even visually right now what he's done with those things. So we still want to point the people in that direction. So they've gotten that far down on the page. We've kept their interest enough. They'll go there, look, the link to the store is there. Below that, and I'm just going to make this one really quick. Brian has also has, maybe it's not as relevant or important. I did secure IGRAconvention.com, and it will have the current year's convention information, a link to go pay for your delegate fee. And if you look below it, it has a link to the following, usually 2 approved convention PLS. So Michigan next year, that pending approval. Denver, we'll have the basics and information for that as we go. Not a whole lot really to that. But and the other thing is, you go to the bottom, they'll be specific. I got to get specific contact information. So, say for Reno this year, any inquiries that someone has, they get to that, and direct it to whoever needs to answer that. Next year, send it to my computer now, send it to So, all this, there's a lot of options, there's a lot of things that to be done. But public facing, again, I don't think we can ever argue what Frank's done. This visually is just for 2020. Sorry.
What's the difference between marketing promotion versus history? If you talk to the resources, the public doesn't really
right, so I need a motion here, in this,
So I'll make a motion.
that we approve the establishment of the public facing website. We don't, we will give it.
We look at just about every kiosk, almost all of them, so they're all taken up.
IGRA.
And, yeah. Well, all the games, the game review. Frankly, it's like the third step. Brian owns GameReview.com, which would be perfect. So we're gonna talk about how that makes that domain to forward it to what we have now. And this makes more options. So, I mean, if someone goes after it propagates long enough, Game Rodeo, eventually the GameReview.net is gonna pop up on the list. Okay, GameRodeo.com, .net, whatever. So it's almost like we have more presence on like a search engine. So the more we can point to that, and they won't even know, they'll type, you type GameRodeo.net now, it still shows that in the browser, but it's actually pointed to a completely different post service right now. You just don't see that. Nobody cares, as long as you see it. So. I don't know what else,
Thank you. Great job. Very excited.
So
We
back to,
have a second.
yeah, I seconded it. However, do we not need to include both of these in one motion versus two separate motions with this item you mentioned? Or not?
Not at this point, just to, just
Okay, so you do accept.
any discussion of this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Great job. Do you want, do we need to talk at this point about convention specific website, or is that going to be? So.
I mean, it's kind of its own separate entity, but it's not really integrated into the overall what we're doing here because it is point one thing. And as far really the only thing is the conventional one is just information. Current year, next year, what we have. The only really important thing is a contact if someone has a question, and that we have way to go to the store, which has already been approved. So we have a link to go to the store, pay your delivery.
I think just out of completeness, we need to have a motion to establish a convention website.
So
Wait for you to store. Just because it's stuff here. It's confusing. Any discussion on this? All those in favor say
Well, this what, the
convention.
Who was the first and second?
Mark.
let's check. Chuck makes second.
You're just used to you're just used to Creed's voice.
Oh.
Jeff, did you see this?
He's only got one good. See what goes on.
Or now. And the complimentary, president, IGRA president, shoulder,
Stated all that.
All right.
So was that-
Yes, go ahead.
Well, we haven't, kind of tried to vote.
Thank you very much. I'm getting tired. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Really quick, all three of these sites, as far as like IGRA store, as we get involved with everything, Tommy, David, they'll have access to look at it, make changes, sit down, go over the basics of it, but Gene would be able to add information to it, change the price. Same with the convention website, there should probably be another person other than me. I think that one of the things Brad and I talked about is things have to be inclusive of more than just one person, so that things can get changed in a timely manner. So
That was one aspect of the market. Now, Chuck.
Just to kind of recap from February's meeting, I think our, kind of starting from scratch, we really haven't had much. So, what Scott has come to, but I think what we're looking at is we need to find a way to reach outside of ourselves and look at how other locals are doing stuff, parallels like the plans that we have to kind of make us know. More importantly, we've got somebody we probably see on social media. He's got the rodeo calendar out. Of course, we had a date change on that. The nice thing with social media is if you share posts, the original poster does the edits, follow wherever that has been shared. So that was nice. So we took the Kansas City off of their posts. What we'd also like to do is maybe get back to the poster development that we did years ago. We actually have posters made like that. Give them to associations and maybe they can go out to the local bars or whatever, something like that. Just to have something. Sometimes the posters are actually multiple. The other part of that is having cards that we have not only with our 50 years to Reno, maybe on the back that have the cards, but as Scott stated, we want to put that QR code that he has that drives directly to his website. So we want to put stuff out there that we don't put it on social media because if you're on your phone, you can't scan your phone on your phone. So when we do post that, we try to put the link to the website. Right now, we don't have the approval, so once we get that, we can start driving more to that site. It's going to be spontaneous. It's going to have maybe some quick little bios of certain people, maybe snap videos of a couple of events or things. Make it more interactive. Maybe we'll try to draw them and get into a rodeo calendar. With other associations and getting more people coming to our events. That's really what we're trying to look at from the standpoint. Kyle, who's also on the committee, submitted some links to the committee to consider some guidelines on corporate brands and external brands. We agreed that we could draft and develop a standardized template. So that's something we're working on the backside of our the sports diversity leadership. They're wanting to connect us with several LGBTQIA+. There's one more. And they have some ideas for business apparel. We want to broaden our store and be able to read some of its proposals from some businesses. So, the treasurer confirmed marketing committee budget line by $1,000. We're looking at an effort right now on proposals for full page ads in Compete magazine. The proposal was for the spring, fall, winter issues. Of course, we're probably going to miss the spring issue, but we probably get able to follow winter and fall, spring, whatever. We're looking at 2 half-page ads, the other LGBTQIA and plus term guides. They were looking at June and October. This is getting our events into other gay tournament guides. So this is a way for us to kind of reach out to those communities. There's also some online ads. Once this is approved to December 31st, and 2 email blasts that they want to put out to their community. This is all through the school students. So I do have the proposal on that.
Yes.
So that's something we try to put up on the screen.
Did everybody read? See the proposal?
That's what you sent me on the fifth, right? That's what I'm for today.
So the proposal is, as it is, we have to do a couple of things on here. There was one part of it, which was some additional marketing services in partnership with Focus Fund. We're not really going to go that direction at this point in time. I think we can do a lot with Scott and what we can do with creative graphics, et cetera. And then we just need to work better on our social media penetration, if we use that. So there's a lot of ways to find different groups that are gay cowboys, gay country boys, lesbian cowgirls, and all that stuff out there that we need to find and share to. So that's one thing we want to do, but I think we can handle the majority of that. It's the upper part, which is the the total one-year package is 3,000, but we may have to have them amend that because some of the proposed publications have already gone out, like the Phoenix Pride one, which was in March, and then also the Arizona. Actually, we did the Arizona Coyotes right on the patio, Mark was there. So we don't even have this, and they actually pulled us into it and got us some physical details. So that is the proposal. They normally don't deal, quote unquote, with contracts, but they said if we wanted to push that, and then they could go that direction. So this is the proposal.
Look, we make a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion that the board of directors accept the committee's proposal for the proposal for the marketing 2020.
Well, hang on, I don't have a proposal, I have the report.
That's what I have.
That's our diversity proposal. So that probably has not.
I thought compete was something we did effective. That was a different. Oh, okay.
Well, no, that's what I just pulled up. That's a report. This could be a report, not a proposal. I don't know when. I don't see a proposal from you people from this, from you.
I forwarded the April 5th email.
I have nothing for you on April 5th.
Okay.
I think in the interest of time, perhaps we should do and we can ask. All right. Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe? So, Joe. Who wants to present, Joe? Let's try. All right, moving on. All right, we have one more item. Michael, do you want to do the road?
Yeah, and there is a document that's in documents, if you can get to meeting documents. I can get that now or later, and I'm going to try to pass through. I asked for 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to do it in less than 5 minutes. Just so you know, World Pride 2025 will be in Washington, D.C. There's an organization called Interpride, they're an international group, like 400 different gay pride organizations in 70 countries. They started doing World Pride events in Rome in 2000. That listed all the places they've been. They just did the 2023 festival in Sydney, Australia, in February, which is the middle of summer. Okay, so that's keep that in mind. And that's why I was like, oh, why would we go to Sydney in February? Washington, D.C. has won the next event for 2025. That happens to be the 50th anniversary of Capital Pride in D.C. And so the Capital Pride Alliance, who's been doing the Pride Festival, is sort of the organizing sponsor. They're expecting between 2 and 3 million people for this. Now, I'm going to show you how to count people, though, from a marketing standpoint. If the Texas Rodeo has a dance tonight, rodeo tomorrow, rodeo Sunday, and then award ceremony, and somebody goes to all 4, they'll be counted 4 times. So that's how you get a few million people. But the thing runs from May 22nd to June 8th. And so that's 2.5 weeks. So the important thing from our perspective, there's going to be a concurrent worldwide World Pride Sports Festival from May 30th to June 3rd. It's being organized by Team DC. If you don't know who Team DC is, I gave the website for them. They're a multi-sport, 37 sports groups from the DC area, including the Atlantic States Bureau. We've been a member since Team DC was founded. And so we do events with Team DC, as with us, have for years. A lot of it is taking groups to professional sporting events, but also been fundraisers, all kinds of interesting things, the openings of bars, So it's a way to bring different sports groups together, try to create more interactions between them and connections. And so DC Sports has actually reached out, Team DC, that's their old, Team DC has reached out to IGRA and said, hey, you know, we're talking to all 37 groups, what does gay rodeo do? And so my question is, I don't know what the heck they want to do. That's my answer. But there is potential to incorporate gay rodeo into a multi-sport location with simultaneous events taking place at a large venue sports complex. One of the ideas that's kind of been just thrown in the pile was, what if you had a gay rodeo going on while you had a rugby tournament and kickball all in the same place at the same time? Because we're going to try to pack probably 30 sport events into a 6-day period. So there's going to be things happening. Nice thing to know, important, the city of Washington, D.C. has already allocated 2 full-time employees to this festival that they're paying for. They've also already made commitments on venues, advertising, marketing, sponsorship, transportation, housing, ticketing, volunteer recruitment. Now, we don't know what that is yet, because it just happened. And that's why it's like, that's why I just got the sheet filled out today. Wednesday was when things finally, this past Wednesday was when I finally got the first pieces of important information. So my next steps, questions at the bottom. Does IGRA have an interest in having a press release? Like, you know, anything at all. What do we want to do? So we need to look at the options. What information do we need to collect? Who's willing to lead and help with this effort? What are the key decision points and reporting timeline? And what is the best financial model to use for funding an event? So you're getting this probably for the first time. A few of you have gotten a little snippet of it, and I think you share my summary notes. So I just need you to think that first question, do we want to do something? And that something could be a lot of different.
What's the date again?
Okay, so the dates, important dates. The whole festival, this is 2025, is May 22nd to June 8th. Okay, that's a long period. The sports festival, though, is narrow, May 30 to June 3rd. There's also an arts festival. There's like a tour festival. There's like all this, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It's a humongous thing. You know, 3 million people, other things.
So if I can just, if you indulge me for just a minute. I think this is a great opportunity for us. I think it's fixing a lot of stuff we're doing in 2025. Just had an interesting conversation with Jack. If you recall, the Smithsonian Institute during the Obama administration reached out to us and offered us space in the Smithsonian Institute to provide materials that they would protect in perpetuity. They were very interested in some of our objects, documents, materials, etc. Jack's just volunteered to try to revitalize that opportunity in Washington, D.C. and make it into what it is. So I think what we need here is a notion on the question of the month would be the best way of doing this, and then ask you for to come. Because I don't think we can settle right now what we want to do, how we want to do it. But we do know, I think we do know now that we want to be there. We want to
Okay, so I have interest in some. Okay, then can I make a proposal, or I've got a couple people on my team already, and that's in Asheville. And we're already in touch with Brett Parsons, who's the president of Team BC, and 2 other board members. And we're at the point where we could go to them and start talking about, hey, what are some of the things that can happen? What are the resources you can give us? I will say this, IGRA as an organization doesn't have the infrastructure to put on a rodeo like we used to put on a rodeo. It's just not what we used to be. And so we would need more from IGRA and others which may very well be the city of Washington. They're gonna give us RFK's free. We'll take it. And then, of course, it's gonna help be all the financial issues. So I will proceed and give a report until we decide if somebody else who might want to take over. That's. Okay.
Do you have a?
I should make a suggestion too. Sure. I would, because it sounds like what we do with WGRF.
Well,
It sounds like it's almost the same type of thing that you can pattern that.
Yeah. And that's the Gay Games model from 2014, where we went into a place where we didn't have infrastructure and brought infrastructure.
Or maybe it doesn't have to be a road, maybe it's a road.
Exactly.
Or barrel race.
Yes.
Cabin on foot and community goats.
Youth community goats and drag.
Yeah. But there's lots of opportunities. Tim, if you don't mind, I don't mean to disagree, but I would like to get a motion and get the support of the board behind this project. So it's great opportunities for a lot of different things. And we don't answer the question. Second by John. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We're interested. All right, motion carries. Let's do it. All right, Michael.
In the past years, by our bylaws and standing rules, all nominations for our annual awards must be complete by the third quarter board of directors meeting. So I will send out a list of all the different awards, how they are nominated, and who votes on which awards. Some awards are determined by a vote of the trustees. Some are determined by a vote of the board of directors. Some are by a vote of the executive. So I'll send out that all out to everyone on the board. And so other than the Grand Marshal final stuff, we'll have nominations closed at the third quarter board meeting. And then ballots will be set out, and we'll set up here as an example for the international awards. The top 5 nominees get an international award. And so, I'll send that all out so everyone understands how the nomination process works. We will have to have an executive board meeting to agree on the nomination and voting process, but we can do that at a future date. Got it.
That's something we can assign a due date?
Do what?
That's something we need to assign a due date to also?
By bylaw.
Then maybe July 1st also?
By bylaw, the nominations close at the third quarter board meeting.
So it really can't be a specific date from year to year to year. It could be this year.
So when the third quarter board meeting adjourns, that closes nominations. And in the past, we've, our association wants to nominate so-and-so. And that happened after the third quarter board meeting. And I said, well, you can nominate them for next year. Well, no, we want it this year. Well, nominations are closed. Do what?
I thought we did the voting.
No. Nominations closed the third quarter board meeting. And then we have a voting process that is determined by the executive board per the bylaws. Do what?
For the trustee awards too? I thought that was the board.
Yeah. The trustees vote for the trustees recipients. That's why I said some awards are voted on by the entire board. Some awards are voted on just by the trustees. Some awards are done just by the executive board. So
Guy's point is that we need to have the nominees in place before we move forward.
voting does not occur at the third quarter board.
For all categories, right? That's what
Yes.
you're saying, for the ones that the executive board does, the board of directors and the board of trustees.
Yes. Yes.
It's all the same date.
Yes.
Okay.
that clear? Okay. I think we're done with all the new business. Thank you for all your time. We're just going to do quick announcements, then we have a board meeting. Michael did put in a reconvening of the board meeting afterwards, at least within new business, but I don't think there's going to be any. So we'll that. And we'll go over now to CGRA.
We'll have a 40th annual Rocky Mountain Regional Rodeo July 7th through 9th at Arapahoe Fairgrounds. Should be a good time. It's a 40th annual rodeo, so that's an exciting time. And we won't have skydivers this year, but we're going to have some other exciting fun firsts. So,
TGRA?
TG. No.
GSGRL. AGR.
Thank you for joining and supporting Arizona Gator Rodeo, and thank you for letting us have the rodeo for 2024. We appreciate that very much. And just let you all know, we did meet our goal. We went and we are going to give $100,000 away to 14 different organizations. Wow.
GPRA?
we'll see everybody on July 21st to the 23rd. Board meeting the 21st.
With lunch?
For everybody but you.
Oh.
Yes.
Will there be internet?
Huh?
Will there be internet?
There will be internet, there will be lunch, yes. Don't worry not.
NGRA?
Yeah.
And New Mexico Gay Rodeo Association. Our rodeo's in August. It's going to be a fun one. Come on down. North Star Gay Rodeo Association. DSRA. ASPRA.
Yeah, just, I want to say that IGRA's got some things going on. We are spending some effort in the Thrive, looks like, and do continue our monthly horseback ride. I also want to quickly should let you know, I'm sure how broadly we end up distributing the national anthem movie premiere was March 10th and at Southwest Country in Austin. I was privileged to have a date with Randy Edlund that night. We had a great time. Drinks and dinner and movie and premiere. The movie was really amazing. I cried twice in it, which is interesting. I don't even cry. But one of them was just this montage that showed scenes of the Arizona and Palm Springs rodeos and the people that were there. It's just sort of like overwhelming to see all these people I knew, I connected to in the film. Here and there, there a couple times. The movie is quite an interesting plot. So I would say it's potentially going to create a social stir because it's going to stir some people up. I think IGRA got good presentation, good representation. I think it makes us look good to me and the people that are opening. People that hate gay folks are going to hate us even more. So you know that. The credits do mention IGRA, so we're featured, we're given credit. I think we got video. But Randy and I were treated like royalty, which is really kind of cool to have all these Hollywood people. That's the issue. See the whole rodeo. And so getting these backstories of how we ended up getting tied into this movie. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. Where they are right now, by the way, so they've had their world premiere. They still haven't had their world commercial premiere. So that'll be coming up either in New York or LA, are the two places we're looking at. There's a potential they'll get in the Tribeca Film Festival in New York, but they found a little optional thing happening in LA. And I don't think they've been picked up by a commercial distributor yet. But I've met more of the producers now, the people that put the money out, so I had to pay the same. So I think we look good. But it is going to be kind of, and there will be people who are IGRA members who are going to be unsettled at the start. Okay? Because it kind of goes beyond where my mind was 20 years ago.
Did I get in the movie, Michael? Michael, did I get in the movie? Cameo, something?
You know, that's the thing. When I got to the end, I'm like, I want to watch it in slow motion because there's one place where it goes by so fast. And I'm like, there's him, there's her. You know, I'm trying to, and I'm like, you know, it's like, oh, there's Jack. You know,
That beats no, Ryan, that beats
I don't remember.
I'll get over it. I got my guide.
It's about the original.
Gay rodeo.
Yeah, the original movie was 4.5 hours long. They cut it
Just a minute. Go ahead, Guy.
Bighorn Rodeo is September 15th through the 17th. Anybody who's interested, I'm selling raffle tickets for the, like last year, we had the $10 raffle tickets. This year's prize is a Better Quest 2 virtual reality headset, which is American people who have great comments. Comes with this so it's a white here. It's like they go a lot next.
Michael?
Good to be back in the fall. Looking forward to convention next year. And then the only thing, hopefully people watch the things that I'd always wanted to do, or migrants are very specific. We had a pretty good response to our first ever Jim Brown Memorial Participating Award. Board had kind of a difficult time deciding, but we did that in February. And I think if you look on Facebook, we had one person from IGRA, from IGRA, Andy and Deb, the first recipient.
Red River?
Michael, thank you for that really positive story. That was nice to hear. That was pretty cool. I have no idea what the movie's about, so I'm not going to stay on the.
Yeah.
And other than that, we are looking at possible dates for rodeo school. So just check the website and when and if we do it, we'll get you practice.
IGRA? Very good. That's all the. Oh my God. It's all across here and then it's this little hanging on corner thing. I did not scroll.
Canada. We welcome everybody up to Canada, August 11th through 13th. On the website, they're working on updating the hotel information. Just an FYI, I posted on social media. Flights round trip through WestJet are like just a little over 500. So it's cheaper to go to Canada than it is for me to go to Tennessee. Other than that, everything looks good. So there's nothing official lined up, and we look forward to seeing it. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Tim. All right, that's it. We're going to wrap it up really
I
quick.
have a couple of follow-up questions on it.
Yes, go ahead.
I'll ask you the first one, Mike will be. So I had sent out that information on radio school to the committee, but I was wondering if I thought maybe you guys were coming forward with a rodeo school help request. So if that didn't happen today, I'm assuming that's not going to be an IGRA sponsor. Thought of that.
Well, Tim is supposed to submit that request for rodeo school, IGRA rodeo school at 15 minutes, so I don't know what's. We're going to have a rodeo school regardless of whether or not it's supported by IGRA.
So put that on your radar, I guess, because you could still do it in July's meeting. We haven't reached the 5. I think that we're at that. By other follow-up questions for Mike. Okay. So I was confused. Originally, when you sent out the information about that movie, you said more information was to come.
Yes.
And then we saw that you went to that event, but I'm guessing that this was a sneak premiere or something. So
well,
the world
this was-
premiere is going to be a different event. That's what.
The world premiere was South by Southwest. South by Southwest picked them up and actually the top slot, one of the top spots. And so the movie has been seen. It has been reviewed. There are actually some interesting reviews, and they're pretty good. They're decent. But at that same event, there were 5 or 6 money people associated with distribution studios. So there's people that make the movies, and there are people that get the movies in the theaters and on the TV or wherever the movie ends up. And so those people were there. And now they're in the whole negotiation process of who will say, okay, we'll run with this movie and try to get your $7 million back. And so that's where they are right now. They're in that process of trying to get that done. And then the next part of their job is to do the promotional stuff, which is going to be the media campaign and the advertising. So that's where the other people will bring in their money. As the production money is done, now it's going to be the promotional money. To get the movie into theaters. And so that's where we could do something to just sort of like let people know the movie exists. And then the quote unquote Hollywood premiere, which is where the general public starts to see the movie. That's going to look.
Okay, I felt like at first that we got cut out of the loop, but we're not there.
We're not at the point where you're going to be able to see the movie. You had one chance in Texas a few weeks ago. I was begging people to take my other tickets, okay?
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry, I had to get the left. Yeah, you mentioned the rodeo school. Do you have a go see RTA? Request?
I think the only one that we've gotten this year is from IGRA, and that was approved in November.
Yeah.
I think we're the only ones that got.
Tim?
So the reason we bring that up is because the rule that got put in for officials, we put it in the general so they could help get the certification programs to help them move through faster. It has to be one of those approved rodeo schools. It can't just be a regular rodeo school. Now, there is a twist to that, or I assume there's a twist, so I don't know that there is, or should I mention it? But somebody else had mentioned it. They said, well, what if we submit it? And this would be all up to this board, but they submit it. Then they say, oh, never mind, we're going to donate it back. It's still approved, but that opened up another slot. Does that make sense? And that'd be up to this board. Okay, well, now we've got 6. That those officials could, do some of the certification.
Get their
Correct. So that's the only reason we want Mexico on there, so that we can encourage some of them to do what they wish to do.
Also, if I may, if I remember correctly, an approved rodeo school gets a delegate at convention.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, almost done. The convention committee has raffle tickets available. We're raffling off 4-night complimentary hotel room at convention in Reno. 1 ticket is $10, 3 for $20. Right now, see me. Eventually, the committee will be subbing it to us. See if you want. And that's the end of the meeting. Thank you all so much for attending the whole business. Sorry. Is there any other business?
Just remind you that the BOT meeting
Correct.
After
break.
So we adjourn.
Sammy, you want 5 minutes?
Let's do it real quick. If I have time to.
Oh, yeah.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Let's go and get started. Okay, so the meeting's being brought to order at 3:43. Michael? Yep. Will you take roll call, please? I will. It's the, Mark Christensen,
Here.
Michael Lentz.
Here.
Jack Morgan.
Here.
Chuck. Wes is not here. David Hartwell.
Here.
David Lawson's not here, Scott's here. Pork Chop's here. Tim Montgomery's not here, Chris Cohen's not here, Sammy's here, Tim Smith.
Here.
and Kevin Hill. Okay, you've got four.
Okay, we have a forum. Can I get a motion to adopt the Robert's Rules Board?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Passes unanimously. I don't believe we had the minutes from the last BOT meeting, right? So we'll not be voting on that.
Yeah, they were sent, they were in the, what was sent this morning, but if you want to delay it, that's fine.
Of the BOT.
Okay. They are it's all part of the February 14th meeting minutes. There's not a separate set of minutes for the board of directors and a separate set of minutes for the trustees. It's all in one document.
Oh, here we are.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So, table the board meeting, so we should probably.
Okay. So that will be tabled until next meeting. One thing that we do need to clarify is the 5-day rule. When does that start? And when does it end? Because it's been a problem, especially for Michael, and people arguing, no, that hasn't been 5 days, yes, that has been 5 days. Now, it would be that someone on Monday calls for a meeting on Friday. Well, did Monday count as one of the days? Does Friday count as one of those days? So we can.
Usually, testing day, the day that it's sent out is day 0.
Hey.
Yes.
I make a motion that a day is defined as 24 hours. Sumerians did this too. That way, if you want to know, did you announce it a day in advance? The meeting's at 9 p.m. You need to announce it by 9 p.m. tonight. So a day is 24 hours. That's what I would go with. And then you can just, then everybody has the same standard.
I think he was trying to establish.
Somebody at one time tried to get a notice out a minute till midnight and then claimed that a minute after midnight was now 2 days.
The guy was trying to establish the start of when to count 5 days.
Okay, so my motion is that a day is 24 hours and you start counting when the notice goes out.
It's not what I'm trying to. 5 days, it's one.
Well, 5 days, it's 5 times 24.
Well, no, technically, you're right, but we shouldn't need a rule for that.
Yeah, we did. Well, that's what
You
we're
know,
talking
we
about.
all know 24 hours is, but what's happening is they're not acknowledging the day it's sent, it really should be day 0. Because nobody's looking at those times. They're saying, I sent it today, this is day 1, and that's wrong. So if you sent it today, your 5 days expire Wednesday, your meeting can be Thursday.
And as long as it's after the time the notice was sent out on that day.
Well, if you do the day it's sent out as day 0, it doesn't matter what time.
Yeah, no, wrong. The whole point was somebody sent out a message at 11:59 and he claimed that that was day 1 and that at 1 minute after midnight, you could hold a meeting and say it was 2 days later. When it's 2 minutes later, 2 minutes is not 2
What
days.
I'm saying is that the day it goes out is day 0. You start your day count Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's your 5 days, and then you have your meeting on day 6.
My point was, if you define a day as 24 hours, then 120 hours after you make the notice, you can have the meeting anytime after that.
That might be the clearest. That 5 days is 120 hours after the notice was sent, which is kind of the same thing.
But
It's the same thing.
No, it's not exactly the same thing, because then you have to worry about time zones and all that other stuff. If you just.
No, you don't, because whatever time you send it out, it's universal time. And so you call for, time is universal. It's all, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be on the
If a
time
day is
stamp.
24
Yes.
hours, then simply say, if you need a 2-day notice, I need that notice 48 hours before you start the meeting.
From which time zone, where it's sent from?
Yeah,
Yeah, wherever it's
well,
starting.
whatever time,
Yeah.
because remember, your meeting's not gonna start at 4, and my meeting started at 4 also, because we're in different time zones. Your meeting starts at 4, it starts at 6 for me. If you send out the notice at 4, then I'll get it at 6, and I'm fine.
Okay, did we have a second on that motion or did we not?
Okay. On 105 hours.
120 hours.
Today is.
Okay, so there's a second. Now this discussion's over. And worked up, feel free.
I don't care what y'all do, you know, but if you want to complicate it. I'm here. But it took me a long time today, because I lasted a very long time.
Any other discussion? So the motion is that 5 days constitutes after, 120 hours after notice was sent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? Passes it after 20 hours. Okay, if there's no further business, we'll adjourn this
No, there
meeting.
is, you gotta have a checklist.
Yeah.
You have checklist for
That's gonna be our meeting for tomorrow.
No.
I was gonna do it tonight, right now.
No.
I was gonna close this meeting and then do that.
Just do.
Okay, okay, then we need the rodeo review checklist person what trustee is willing to do that? As usual, we're stormed with volunteers. We're gonna have to have someone, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, he's good.
I'm not gonna be here either.
You gonna take it, Mark? Okay, Mark's gonna take the checklist review.
After he said I'm not.
Okay, I got reviewed then, that's good.
I'm volunteering for health and safety.
Okay, so Chuck's gonna be health and safety, the review trustee. No, he's checklist.
Oh,
So rodeo review trustee. Anyone?
I won't be here.
Okay,
You may have to get him to review, to check this. So.
no, you're wrong.
That's true.
I don't get the vote, I don't do it.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Huh?
I'll agree with you.
You can go, I mean, check.
That's all.
You can check this.
No one wants to,
Well, I would, but it's just no way I can do it being grant. There's just no way. It's, I'm way too busy.
I'm secretary.
all right, I'll do it. Okay. Anyone else have any further business? If not, this meeting will be adjourned.
I guess we don't do that here, like, camp, but.
No, that's like.
It's just. Oh, okay.
Just a reminder.
Yeah.
The rules do indicate that those folks on this, that you just selected, are supposed to be present.
Yes, you guys keep reminding us.
I know, and it just also.
Okay. So the only reminder, which I guess I'm reminding myself, besides what Chuck just said, is that the injury report needs to come through the review.
No, you have to fill them out. There's nothing else. Yeah, they don't come to you, you fill them out.
I fill them out.
But you just can fill them out.
That's,
If they decline, you have to fill it out to the best you can.
So the checklist you said?
No,
the review.
The voluntary injury report can be filled out by the person who's actually injured, that's why it's voluntary.
Okay.
But if they don't, the review trustee has to fill it out to the best of their ability.
So here's my question. How do you know an injury's happened? How would I be notified an injury has happened?
Well, as the review, supposed to have your eyes on the exam.
Which is kind of tough when I'm out in the course. So then I'm just asking all trustees, if you see an injury, will you please tell me about it and then I can.
Yeah, because the hardest part of that, Sammy, is actually the stands, because that really isn't, because a lot of times as officials, we don't even realize somebody, overheated and some things. So we rely on rodeo directors to let you know on that, just so you.
Okay. Okay.
So your rodeo director should know. You can always ask your rodeo director, hey, was there any injuries or did someone trip? Like somebody did trip last year.
Okay.
And personally, no.
No further business? Meeting's adjourned.
That was,
So
it was 11.
you had to get all cheeky and stuff.
No.